Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my co-host,
Rebekah.
And Rebekah, I think it's safe to say,
Yes.
roam if you want to, roam around the world. I was messaging Rebekah mid-episode.
Yeah?
I was like, Rome can't go. It looked like Rome was going. I'm like, Rome can't go. Rome brings the chaos. I need Rome all season. He can't win. That's fine. He needs to be here all season because I need the he's purposefully being a villain, which is what I have been asking
He's so
for.
chaotic.
Like Q was chaotic, but Q was not trying to be a villain. Q was just being Q, and it happened to be a villain sometimes. And Liz was a villain, but like, no, again, not like on purpose. Bruce is a villain, again, not on purpose. Rome is doing it on purpose. Rome is purposefully
he's fully like, he's like, I'll go threaten him. I don't care. Like,
I'll follow him around. I'll be side by side with him. Saul makes a right turn. I make a right turn. Yeah. I'll sit by him on the beach. I don't care. Yeah. Rome was.
It's Survivor. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. There's no rules. Jeff's not here. So just.
This is my beach.
Oh, man. I mean, Troyzan claims Samoa as his island. Rome should just say, this is my island.
Yes.
Oh, man. I will say this episode for the first like 2/3 is like, it's okay. Like pretty predictable. We know where it's going. The moment the narrative shifted to Genevieve, I was like, holy cow. I was like, this is interesting. This was an interesting.
What a plot twist.
What a plot twist. By who saw Genevieve with the plot twist? I didn't. I had no idea.
No. Yeah. As soon as she started getting all these confessionals, I was like, oh, I didn't know. Oh, she's talking. Oh, we're listening to her.
Yeah,
okay. And then, like you said, it was, very exciting.
It's important.
It is. Yeah. Which is probably why we're hearing her talk for the first time.
Holy cow. And I will say, it's not like the Tiana focus we got 2 episodes ago, who, by the way, has been essentially skunked since then. Did Tiana even talk tonight? Maybe. I don't have confessional count in front of me. I'll get it tomorrow when we do winter analysis. I'm saying, even if she talked, Tiana became a nobody as soon as TK went out. But Tiana was like, trust my instinct. Like, her focus was a little bit, Genevieve took the narrative, grabbed the narrative by the neck, and just shoved its face in the sand and said, this is my narrative now. A narrative didn't have a choice. It had to hand the reins over to Genevieve, which is just wild. We will get in depth on that tomorrow winter analysis. But today we're going over everything else. I will say fantasy team wise, did you put any votes on Keyshawn?
I did not. No, I put like 6 votes on Genevieve because I thought it was her and no votes on Keyshawn. So
I said it last week that I thought last week might have been the last week to join, still have a chance to win. I take it back. Like, what the heck? There was a plot twist this week. Like, I put a few votes on Keyshawn, but only because I was like trying to strategically spread. I was not like, who the freak was seeing Keyshawn go? You know, nobody.
Right.
I'm just saying, if you want to join the fantasy league, link in the description. It's not too late. What do I know? What do I know? I did not see Keyshawn going. Did not see this happening. So anyways, if you guys want to join us, link description. We'll talk about that tomorrow, how we all did. Cause oh my gosh. My fancy team though is like,
the one thing I have going for me right now is that I have Sam and Rachel, I think, getting points for me.
Having Sam.
And their tribe keeps winning first place immunity. So that is like carrying me right now.
I have Gabe and Annika on my team. My other team is Saul and Annika, I believe. But again, my second team to me does not count. I just had to make it to make that second group. The first group is my real team, which is Gabe and Annika. And Gabe, I feel like, is in a pretty good place. Social, like in terms of the story, but Annika, every time Yellow comes up, like, come on, Annika, turn your story around for my fantasy team. Nope.
Do it for the fantasy team. Do it for the fantasy team.
Come on. A couple things I want to bring up from the On Fire podcast, which I have not listened to, but I did read the InsideSurvivor.com update on what they said on there. Jeff says one-time idols probably won't come back in future seasons since that goes against the idea of dangerous gameplay because Charlie called him out on this. And called him out is probably the meanest way of saying what he probably did, which is probably super nice because he's on a podcast. That's Jeff's podcast. Charlie basically said, Jeff, doesn't the idea of one-time idols kind of go against this whole narrative of the new era being the most dangerous? And Jeff's like, oh yeah, we're not bringing those back in future seasons. What do you think about that, Rebekah?
Very nice. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that makes sense because it is like, I don't know. I feel like it happens so frequently that it's like, okay, someone has an idol. Everyone knows they have an idol. They have to play it. Like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, there's not a lot you can choose who to play it for, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, I'm on board with getting rid of those.
I say give everyone an idol.
Oh. Well, isn't that the shot in the dark kind of?
No, an idol. Just an idol.
Like
everyone's
full
idol works until Final 5. Everyone gets one at the beginning. That is all the idols for the season. Everyone gets one. It's much easier to keep track of. And then, theoretically, there could be a tribal council where everyone plays an idol, therefore burning all the idols at once. This is just theoretical. I don't know if this actually would happen. And then we would have a tribal where nobody goes because everyone played an idol. And that's okay. The next tribal will have 2 vote offs. It'll make up for it. Don't worry. That will be the survivor will have a plan because they plan this stuff out. So that's the only drawback. Somebody would say like, oh, then nobody goes. I know that would be a first, and Jeff loves and stuff like that happens. And on the flip side, with all the idols gone, that means everyone's vulnerable, and they could play Survivor. So it was just
or they could give everyone an idol, but in order to get the idol, they have to like fully cover their body in like red paint that looks like blood.
Oh, like suits.
But then everyone does get an idol. Yes. I mean, that was so funny.
I could also see that being a twist, not the red paint part, but everyone gets an idol, but it's inactive until they do a certain task. So like everyone basically has a beware advantage minus losing your vote. I think that I don't like that part. But basically an inactive idol that you have to do a task. Everyone has one from the beginning.
I like that. I'm on board with that. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, it could also be like, because if you try and do it in secret so that no one knows if your idol is active or not. But it's like some crazy phrase that you have to say or like, some task
no phrases. That's the thing. Yeah. All 18 people have one. It has to be something that's equal in difficulty for everybody. So whether it's a secret or not, I'm not as concerned with it. I just think all the idols could be inactive until everyone does one thing. And I don't know what the one thing is. That's not my job.
Mm-hmm. I like this.
My job is not to fix what I broke. All right. The other thing Jeff said is that the new era is not, to him, it's not season by season. It's a series. Now, does Jeff not know that a series like a TV show has multiple seasons?
So is he saying like so far we've had essentially we're in episode 7 of this season? Is that what he's saying?
What Jeff is saying is that so I'll try to explain this with newer seasons without spoiling them.
Okay.
So for example, The Edge of Extinction is its own season. It's also its own series. It is one contained narrative. The season 38. Season 39, Island of the Idols, is one contained. It does not connect to Edge of Extinction. They're not connected. They are separate seasons, separate series to Jeff, I guess. I think what Jeff is saying is that 41 through, I assume 49, I don't know if 50 is part of this quote unquote series. We'll find out. 41 through 49 is a series that's all connected as like one show, which doesn't make any sense when there's no reoccurring characters. But it is all the same island.
Except for Jeff.
Yes, except for Jeff.
And Bruce.
Bruce did come back. Yeah, that's true.
Was a reoccurring character.
You know what I'm saying, though? If you watch a series, okay, old dude on NCIS was there for 20 plus seasons, and there were other reoccurring characters, though. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just, I forget his name. I'm so sorry. I was trying to think of shows ran. I think they're even making like an origin story about him now for NCIS, which is just,
interesting.
That's okay.
Sorry. This is before I have never seen this
NCIS,
show.
I think is still going. Point being is that the main character was on there for 20 plus seasons, and he finally retired because he's probably in his 70s by now. They started the show in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was just on it for 20 plus. Anyways, point being is that show had recurring characters, even if he was there every time, like Jeff, and that was a scripted show, of course. And this time, I don't buy this the same way. It's a series, I guess, in terms of there's so many similar things in terms of twists and the way the episode, in terms of the way the season goes, in terms of structure. Sure, if that's how you want to rebrand the new era, go for it. But it doesn't work that way when we're watching a show with different individuals every season. To me.
Yeah. No, it is interesting because to some extent I can kind of see maybe what he's saying about there is a certain vibe to the new era, I guess, that's different. But yeah, I don't know. question, do you, because I haven't seen NCIS.
I haven't
nor have I seen the
either.
Chicago shows. But do you think that Jeff is just trying to like, he's trying to fight the Chicago shows?
Mark
and
Hamill,
be like,
that's the main guy in NCIS. There we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yes. Do you think that Jeff is trying to just like fight the Chicago shows and be like, look, we have a narrative season 2, and so that's why you should watch Survivor instead of Chicago.
Jeff's trying to pull the Chicago trilogy viewers over, and the way he's doing it is by announcing this on his podcast that you would not listen to unless you're already watching Survivor.
Yeah, that's my theory. I think it's flawless.
You stick to your guns, Rebekah. You do you.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we start the episode off. I want to know what you guys, let me comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the series idea. Maybe I'm missing something. I think the different cast of characters every time throws off the idea of it being a series. If there was maybe, I don't know, that's maybe like the winner played the very next season, or something like that, where like something carried over, like sure.
Or there's just like one person that's in every season.
Yeah, or like exactly.
It's just Bruce every season.
Undercover Bruce.
Katura's like, yes, he's like wearing fake mustaches, and Katura's just like screaming on TikTok like, it's Bruce.
It's Bruce. Do people not see it's Bruce? I think that's the only way I would say it's a series if there was like some sort of reoccurring character who's not Jeff, because Jeff's otherwise that doesn't go with the first 40 seasons where it was not supposedly one series, and because Jeff is there every time already, so that doesn't. This is nothing different. All that's different is there's less days, and we're doing a lot of the same things over and over, and we have less money supposedly to spend, which I believe. I'm not doubting that part. I think COVID caused the show to have to make a change, because 41 was originally planned to be 39 days until they were forced to do the 2 weeks of quarantine. So they shortened 41 and 42 down because of the quarantine, and then the quarantine went away, or it was extremely less than 43, 44. And CBS went, we got away with doing 2 seasons for 2/3 the budget.
Yep.
What if we just do that forever?
Hear me out. Yeah. Do you think that they'll up it for like season 50 or anything? Go back to 39 days? Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Do I want it to be 39? Yes. I saw there was a discussion on Reddit the other day. What else is new? A discussion on Reddit the other day. Someone complaining about the number of days. And the argument was that 39 days would allow for the story to be more fleshed out, which I disagree with. I think people would be more connected over 39 days for sure, that versus 26, no doubt. Would the story be told differently? I don't think so. If you look back to the 30s, they were already getting super focused on just gameplay. And basically from 31 forward, gameplay was king 99% of the time in terms of the story. So we'd get character stuff, sure, but the show was already wanting to talk about story gameplay every minute it got. So people were like, oh, there'd be more character mode stuff. And it's like, really, the 90 minutes allows for more character mode. So there's still choosing to focus on gameplay the whole time. Like, it's more time's not going to fix it. That's just what the show wants, how it wants to tell its story. So 39 days is not going to change that.
As long as they keep casting people like Rome, who's going to be out here, causing chaos. Because that's, I feel like, maybe one of the big things that 39 days got us was like, people driving each other crazy even more, because it's like, you're out there longer, obviously. So, but I mean, if you got someone like Rome out here just causing chaos for the heck of it, like, that does the same trick.
39 days is not going to fix how they're telling the story, is what I'm trying to say. 39 days would only change how much people are connected to each other. So since they're not going back to 39, they need to cast more people who are like Rome and are unafraid to play how they want to play, instead of caring about what social media is going to think about them afterwards. Now, I'm sure Rome cares, but Rome clearly is not playing like he cares, which is what I want more of. So anyways, we talked about the episode yet, really. Okay, so Solomon is mad about being voted for. Teeny says, I couldn't vote for Asia due to emotional reasons. And there was sad music. And Rebekah, you made an astute point about this whole scene between her and Solomon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy that like Solomon is literally comforting Teeny after Teeny voted for him. Like, that's so funny. Like, it blows my mind. I feel like every episode we're just being shown over and over again how much everyone loves Teenie and like is so forgiving and like just willing to work with her and everything. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just, it happens every episode. And like, yeah, it's crazy to be like, oh, I'm sorry that you feel bad for voting for me. Like, let me comfort you right now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was very Teenie focused. Was it Solomon focused? Not really, despite him being the one voted for. Though it did hang for a long time last episode, as you may recall, on Teenie making a decision on who she wants to vote for. And as it turns out, it's because she didn't want to vote for Asia because she's emotionally connected to Asia. And we got the follow-up here in this episode because Teenie is going to the top 4. This is not spoilers. This is speculation. Easy. I heard somebody say, if there are spoilers, I don't want to know them. Don't tell them to me. I like speculating a lot more. It's way more fun because it works the brain to have to speculate. If you spoilers, where's the fun?
And yeah, I absolutely love just like saying things very authoritatively and then having to defend them with like without actually knowing. Like tonight, I told you very confidently that Genevieve was going home.
And I said how.
Yeah, and I explained how, and it was a perfect plan, and it would have worked, but I was wrong.
I liked when you said it though, because I was just messaging Rebekah. I'm like, Rome has to stay. Rome can't go. Rome needs to stay. And you're like, Genevieve's going. I'm like, oh, okay, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't understand how it was going to happen, but I was like, that would be okay. I was like, even Teenie could go. I would rather eat dirt on Teenie going and being like, oh, I guess she wasn't top 3 after all, than have Rome go. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I want Rome to stay for chaos.
I respect that. I'm not quite there yet personally, but I do respect that. Yeah. I'm enjoying Rome a lot. Like, he's very fun to watch, so I don't want him to go, but I don't know. I think Teenie's...
Oh, no.
I think Teenie's going to win.
Wasn't going to be voted off. I was just saying that's where I'm at. Like, story-wise, I'd rather have Rome stay. If it took a sacrificing of somebody who's in the leader spot right now for the win, or one of the leader spots, I think we're down. I truly do think it's between 3 people. Despite what happened tonight, I don't think it's enough evidence to change my top 3. But we will talk in depth about everyone tomorrow, Mary and I. All right. So Rome is all smiles about what happened, because when isn't Rome all smiles about anything he does? Sam raps, and I did write down, ask Rebekah if it's good. So Rebekah, was the rap Sam did good?
Listen, I don't know if I am like, I'm not in this culture enough to like have a strong opinion on this, to be honest. But that being said, I will say I didn't think it was good. I don't know. I think that like, here's the thing. It's also hard when we're seeing, I know that these people are like out on this beach for days and they have nothing to do. And then we're just like seeing them do something kind of cringy, like out of context. But so
especially
I'm sure it was like,
tribal.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was like, they've just got to do things to like keep each other entertained. And I know there's a lot that we don't see. So I'm sure, like, I think this was kind of an endearing, like, character moment for Sam. Again, it's just kind of one of those things like, oh, we're checking in on Sam. Sam's, like, having a good time with his tribe. And, like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely feels like just, I don't know. It seemed a little cringy, but also, like, it was a positive for Sam, if that makes sense, in terms of the edit.
No, it's definitely positive, Sam. Yeah, I just didn't think the rap was very good, but I wanted to ask you first before I said that, so. Sam says he's freestyling his way through Survivor, just rolling with how things are going, basically, which is why it's the rapping just supports Sam as a potential winner. I mean, it really does. Teenie, I will say, Sam has gotten the random character moments, whereas Teenie hasn't really gotten, in my opinion, any character moments. It's been more strategic focused, which harkens back to what I was saying in terms of Teenie's name in the opening credits is not as high as Dee's, but it's pretty darn close, but it's not the same. Therefore, it's Teenie's second place. Or I guess another theory is she could go out in 4th and like losing fire. That's also an option. Teenie to me is guaranteed finale. Sam is guaranteed finale. The question is the placements at this point, in my mind. I agree. So yeah, I'm just saying, throwing it out there, like Sam's getting character moments, Teenie is not. That could change, But man, they're doing pre-merge character modes with Sam. If Sam's not the winner, why?
Right. Yeah, it was like, why did we go to the Yellow Tribe like in that moment, other than just to check in with Sam and see how he's doing?
Even after,
yeah,
it says to Mary, because I said we got to the immunity challenge. I said, and Mary's over taking notes. I'm like, Mary, notice how blue we spent the required amount of time, but with yellow and red, it feels like we spent extra time with them. Yep. Only when you compare it to the blue amount of time we get. Then after the win for yellow, we don't go to see what blue's up to. We don't go straight to red, who lost immunity. We go, what's yellow doing? Oh, Sam wants to kill the chickens and Sierra does not. That's really what happened. Don't get me wrong. The other people, other girls were like, I don't really, but it was really Sam and Sierra. That's really what we got. It was the Sam and Sierra thing. Yeah. One wants to kill the chickens, one doesn't.
The theme of this episode was trouble in paradise. Yeah. They're just bickering the whole episode.
Oh no. The honeymoon phase is over for their relationship.
Oh no. Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're not number ones. Just means that the honeymoon phase is over. My point is that we're purposefully checking in on yellow when we have no need to be checking in on yellow, which is very typical of winner edits. So again, Sam could be the winner, but also it could be Sierra. And I think I've been saying this since last week or 2 weeks ago. I forgot when I started on Sierra train, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Yellow or red has the winner, ain't blue. Blue does not have the winner.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that I guess we'll get to winner analysis later, but we'll save it for then. Yeah. I have some thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. And I also like to do it throughout the episode recap. So we tell people, hey, we did the whole time.
Yeah.
If in case you skipped. All right.
Yeah.
So, Sierra makes sure to connect with the other women, which I thought was important, making it, and then we get the whole breadwinner alliance brought up by, I forgot who drops the name. It's not really important who drops the name. Sierra didn't make up the name. That's important, I guess. But Rachel or Annika, it doesn't really matter. Annika and Rachel says, us girls are tight. Like they don't really realize, I guess, how close Sierra, Andy, and Sam are strategically. They just think it's girls versus guys.
Right.
Like that's how their basic, I almost said base, which I think means a different thing now. Almost how basic their edit is just boils down to us girls are together and they're in the wrong.
Yeah. Which is also like interesting to me, especially because like last week there was such a big deal. Like Annika made such a big deal about telling like, hey, the other tribes all think that Sam and Sierra are dating. And like, I don't know. I feel like that it at least had to be a conversation at some point between Annika and Rachel being like, hey, are these other tribes like seeing something that we're not seeing? Why are they assuming that Sam and Sierra are so tight? I mean, and they also see them like go walk off together all the time and everything. Yeah. Although Sam says he does walk off with everyone equally to like have strategic conversations.
Which we're not saying isn't true. We just don't see it.
Right, exactly, yeah. And so I would assume that at some point Annika and Rachel had that conversation, but like you said, we didn't see it. So yeah, they're in the edit, their strategy seems to be pretty basic.
Exactly. I will say there was a comment made this past week where someone said, I have been listening to this podcast since 44 and it has irreparably damaged how I watch Survivor. And they said they can't watch the show. I don't know if that was me replacing the words they used to make it probably more extreme than what they said.
Damaged is a strong word.
Maybe that's the wrong use of that word. I'm sorry. Basically what they're saying is they've taken, if this is the Matrix, they took the pill. They took the red pill. I think that was the one where you like find out what the truth is. They've basically taken the red pill and they can't go back. They cannot unsee the edit now. They cannot unsee how the story is being told. It's true. I mean, that's this podcast for 9 seasons now. It's like, we're here to tell you what you're actually looking for when you look for the winner. Because to me, that's the game. I mean, I enjoy the show. To me, the game is who's the winner. And then when the winner's revealed, going back and being like, all right, how did they tell the story? Because I really enjoy the stories of Survivor. I really enjoy the show. And that tonight was a good episode. Might be the best episode of the season because I'm all for a good, exciting finish to an episode. So often an episode will be good in the middle.
This episode had it all.
It'll be good at the beginning and it won't end very dramatically. But tonight this was a good ending for an episode.
Yeah. We had chaos from Rome and Solomon butting heads.
Right.
Yeah. plot twist near the end, Genevieve, like, yeah, this was a great episode.
Was
You're right.
The best episode of the season so far, and I hope it gets better.
Yeah.
It really, the ending, it really is. It really was the end. The moment Genevieve took the narrative by the throat, that the episode took off, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that is a indicative sign of the season. I want to point out though, we're through 4 episodes, and I like 4 episodes. I was like, oh my gosh, the season sucks. And I kept saying it last season though. I was like, all right, maybe there's hope. Maybe it pulls a Vanuatu and it did. It almost did pull a Vanuatu basically, where the season was good the rest of the season after Banu left. Here, we didn't need a Banu leaving, but Genevieve sure. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what happened here. I'm just saying that something happened, and we'll hopefully it carries on. I'm
also like so curious because I know like she obviously was doing confessionals and stuff like for previous episodes, but it's the edit. Like we started getting to hear from her this week. Like she said something in one of the confessionals about like, I'm a type A personality, like I'm a bossy woman or something. And I literally said out loud, I was like, you are? Like, because we have not seen that or hardly heard from her at all. But then, yeah, as soon as we start hearing from her, like things go her way in this episode. So yeah, I hope we get to see more from her soon.
Yeah. So we go over to the Blue Tribe. And Gabe said from the time I joined the show, I wanted to be on a tribe with a mother type, a Sioux, basically, so that things really worked out well for him. He didn't really explain why, but I think the reason is because, or maybe he did. The reason to me seems pretty clear. People who are viewed as mothers don't win the game, but also they inherently play a game where they're not doing a lot of backstabbing. From what we've seen, people are in the mother roles. And if they do, they get vilified for turning on their mother role. So it's actually a person. If
they do, it's by not voting for Charlie.
Right. Well, was Maria ever really the mother role? She said that the whole time last season. She purposely was shunning that. We were talking about good for her shunning it. Little did we know it's going to lead to her being a jerk to Charlie, which, by the way, to me is completely fine if she would just own up to why she did it instead of like lying and saying, in my opinion, lying. I am not like judge and jury here.
Yeah.
To me,
well, yeah, because she said I'm going to give it to the person who needs the money most, and then gives it to Kenzie.
Get out of here.
Instead of
the person who owns the beauty salon, who's booked for years and says I can't take any more new clients. Literally. That's the person I need to give money to. Like, come on, man. It's only $600K after so Obama crazy. Takes it anyways.
Yeah, thanks, Obama.
Yeah, thanks, Obama. All right. That's about as political as this show gets during the politics season. All right. So Sue is 58 and she starts telling others she's 45. A classic Sammy move. But another classic Sammy move is for the 3rd week in a row. Maybe the 4th week. I didn't really notice the 1st week because she did this. 3rd week in a row. No one knows I'm a pilot. What?
Yeah. I love how this has escalated.
Why does it matter?
I feel like she told everyone in the first episode that she's a pilot, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that was the first conversation she had. And now she's like, no one knows that I'm a pilot and that's what's going to win me this game. And like, blah, blah, blah.
More like nobody respects that she's a pilot. Whether they know or not is not important.
Like, they don't understand what it takes to be a pilot or something. I don't understand, but I'm on board. I love this bit.
This is what I mean by the Blue Tribe. When the biggest character on the Blue Tribe is a character that nobody on the Blue Tribe's winning. Like Carolyn ain't winning, Tiana ain't winning, Gabe's not winning. I mean, Gabe's definitely there and he's important. He seems like he'll be important later on.
I think Gabe has the best chance, but even then, like his confessional that you were just talking about, where he's talking about like Sue is his number one. We've heard that exact same thing from him previously in an episode.
There's just nothing.
And it's
here.
Like, okay, this is just. It's just, it's no new information. It's just, we're just showing the Blue Tribe to be like, all right, the Blue Tribe is still here. Okay, back to the actual show. This was our
required time at Blue Tribe because Sue finds a Beware advantage, gets red paint on her. It's an idol. People are like, that's a little sus. And that's kind of it. That's kind of all the time we spent at Blue because that was required because she found a Beware advantage. Had she not found it, we would probably have spent less time at Blue, to be frank with you. There would have been, is there a 5th person on Blue I'm forgetting about? Tiana.
Kyle?
Kyle got skunked this week, right?
Yes.
Maybe he did.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he got skunked.
More or less, at least.
Right. Well, if he got skunked, we'll talk about that tomorrow for sure. It'll affect the ranking. All right. Yeah, Blue, we spent the required amount of time at Blue. Sue has an idol good until final 5. No catches, no box within a box, nothing like that. So. All right.
I did like her excuse of, she was like, oh, because Tiana and Caroline, I think, were like, are you bleeding? She's like, yeah, I bit the back of my tongue.
No. It started
so I
with,
can't show you the
are
cut.
you bleeding? You have blood on your chin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
something happened earlier.
I
Oh,
did
there's
something stupid
also
with the machete.
blood on your fingers. Oh, I did something stupid with the machete. That was like the second accusation when she brought the machete. Machete's laying right there. And then there's blood in your hair. And that's when she goes, I bit the back of my tongue. And what?
Because Tiana was like, show me the cut. Like, are you okay?
There's no cut.
And obviously, here's the thing. Listen, I don't know, maybe this is too dark. I'm not recommending that anybody hurt themselves actually
Rebekah.
on the show. But
nobody hurt yourself.
If you don't hurt yourself, but maybe just like a little nick. Like nick your finger just enough. Like little Band-Aid will cover it.
I don't support this.
But like
I'm anti this.
I mean,
listen, I'm so anti
it's either
this.
that or you have to have like a mirror or someone that you trust that can tell you if you have paint on your
When
chin.
she dropped the pot and it broke, she did not need to get red everywhere like that. That was a rush decision on her part. The way she went about, that's the reason she has red all over hers, because she did all that cleaning and everything. She would been better off dropping it as carefully as possible, getting the beware advantage, and leaving it there for someone else to find, and or you walk with somebody and what the heck is that over there? You know?
Yeah.
That you don't
clean
I feel like
it
up. It just made a bigger mess on her.
I feel like people would be suspicious because there was that clay pot in the middle. So it's like, okay, clearly something was in here. Somebody has something.
Yeah, exactly. You leave that.
But yeah, if you can walk up with someone else and be like, oh, what's that? Like that could work. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You carefully get it out. Of course, this is me, 2020 vision, Monday morning quarterback.
From the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Who am I? Have I played Survivor? No. I'm just saying, if theoretical, the best way of going about this is that I'm not saying Sue was dumb for what she did. I think trying to cover up it so that nobody knows is a good idea. She obviously
also
did not clean herself up well
adrenaline
enough.
rush. You're not thinking straight.
Cameras are on you. Yeah, I am not at all saying Sue is dumb. I am saying that there's a better way of doing it.
She's a pilot. you better respect her. She is not dumb. She's a pilot.
I can't believe people are just like sleeping and living at that blue camp without knowing she's a pilot. How dare they?
It's crazy.
How dare they?
How do they sleep at night?
I don't know. I feel like Sammy's version where he's 19 is a funnier version of the same joke, but I'll stick with the gag.
Yeah.
There's no other gag going on. I'll stick with this as the gag. Yeah.
I feel like it's a good one.
I like the Sammy's only 19 funnier. By the way, for those who commented that he's in the Mr. Beast video, I had it on my watch list to watch later. Mr. Beast videos are not my priority to watch. So I eventually watched it, and I'll let you know, Rebekah, Sammy was a non-factor on the episode he was in. It was a long story short. It was a 6v6. Whoever survives longest between men and women wins $500,000 split between the team or something like that.
That's like $20,000 after taxes.
And you don't need to be, the whole team didn't need to stay. Only one person needed to stay to the end. So they could strategically eliminate other people on the team so that there's more food available for the one person, which the women did. The women also had a couple survival experts, like legit, not survivor, survival experts. And the men had a survivor in Sammy, which was not talked about at all. Sammy left about 14 days in to this, and he didn't look like he lost weight like people do in Survivor because they actually had food. Long story short, the men lost. And Sammy was a non-factor. So I'm like, yeah, he was there, and they didn't even.
In terms of like, so you say 14 days, how much like screen time or how many minutes into the video was that?
I don't know. I will tell you that Sammy got like one confessional, maybe two.
Okay.
Sammy, and I didn't like legit. Sammy's name didn't even come up until almost the time he left. Like that's how much of a non-factor he was on his own in his own group. Mr. Beast is.
Did he even get to lie to them about his age?
No. Mr. Beast's editing dropped the ball massively. He didn't talk about his age. He didn't talk about the fact that he was even on Survivor, which I feel like would have been an interesting tidbit to include on a show, on an episode where you're surviving, where you could be like, man, this is harder than Survivor, which didn't even come out of his mouth.
Right.
You know, which is always what you're looking for when you're on a different show. Like, this is harder than the other nothing like that.
Yes.
So no, really dropped the ball. Even why cast Sammy if you're not going to include anything? I don't know. It was kind of like, how is he living there? And they're recording him for 2 weeks and they had nothing interesting.
Yeah, did Sammy just like have 2 weeks to kill and he's like, yeah, I'll go hang out. Like, you don't have to pay me. Yeah. You don't have to put me in the video. I'll just go hang out for 2 weeks.
Sammy pulled a Survivor move though. He's the only one who left and then gave the people still remaining in the game all of his clothes except for his underwear because he knows.
Ooh, smart.
See?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a survivor move.
Yeah, that's a survivor move. Yeah, that's smart.
Knowing that those clothes could help you stay warm when it's like, because it rained a ton. It rained more in that video than it did in Fiji. It does in Fiji, I feel like. So,
yeah.
By the way, Mary and I are currently watching Kagayan again, and we watched some of the seasons in Samoa recently over the past year for the videos on the channel. It rained a ton in Samoa. It has been raining in Cagayan. It barely rains in Fiji. No wonder production loves it.
Interesting.
It barely rains in Fiji. I know they've been evacuated once or twice for her, but like that is the anomaly. It is not normal for the amount of rain in Fiji does not, at least in the new era, has been very minimal, it seems like. Yeah. When are people going to just get dumped on for like days?
Yeah. Do you think we have the budget for like fake rain? Because we need to get on that.
You can't afford the rain.
All the rain in previous seasons. I have
been hearing that apparently humans can control the weather. This is just a theory, though. I've been hearing this on the interwebs. Humans can control the weather. Survivor's not paying Mother Nature enough to control the weather and get enough rain.
Oh, no.
All right. So we spent our mandatory time at Blue. So we can quickly move on from them. Everyone on Red is looking for an idol. Rome is just following Saul, has a fight with him, just being obnoxious.
Just picks a fight with him for no reason.
No reason. Like, it's one thing to follow. It's another thing. The Rome is like side by side with Solomon. He's like, I'm going to get water, which, by the way, again, I get still watching Solomon because he could just tell you he's going to get water and then go look for an idol. Like, duh. Obviously, but he was just staring him down intensely and standing next to him and like
literally
Solomon's not going to run away
neck.
Like Tony, you know. That's not him. That's not his character. He's not Tony Vlachos. He's not going to run, you know, suddenly start sprinting to go get an idol. Even if he did, you could just assume he has. Okay. Anyways, and then Rome tries coaching Solomon on how to play the game, which I thought was just a wild thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, well, if you look for the idol, that makes you a bigger threat. But if you stay at camp, make you less of a threat. And Solomon's like, you're going to vote me off either way. He's like, yeah, well, if you stayed at camp, your threat would be less. It's Solomon's like, I know what he's doing. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. I almost feel like Rome, like, yeah, it was, I don't know. He really likes, what was it? Not threatening, but what was the term he used?
What was the threatening? He was just telling him, he was basically telling him his ultimatum. Which is
ultimatum.
Which is another way of threatening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
Classic ultimatum. That's not a threat. Yeah.
Classic Rome.
Classic Rome. Rome, if you want to. All right. So we then get Keyshawn, which we kind of got last week. I want to say Keyshawn being like, who he thinks he's like the ultimate mastermind, puppet master kind of edit. This week again, Keyshawn's pitting them against each other. Rome and Sullivan. That's exactly what he wants. You know, we got the mastermind edit last week. We got it this week. And okay. So when Keyshawn goes, it makes it a little bit more satisfying because his mastermind, the puppets turned against him, basically.
Yes.
I got to say, though, when Rome fights with Solomon, Teeny looks dead into the camera, like it's The Office.
Highlight of the episode. Also, like, such a winner move.
Looking into the camera. Hey, Cochran did it on season 26 when he won. He looked dead in the camera when something stupid happened.
Also, if I may go on maybe a little bit of a unhinged rabbit trail, but like I've noticed, and this could just be my perception, but it seems to me like they've spent way more time this season focusing on breaking the fourth wall, kind of the behind the scenes, right? Like when they hit the beach, Jeff mentioned like the crew and said, you know, something about like, I don't know what he said, like we're on a beach being filmed or whatever. And then on their Instagram, on the official Survivor Instagram, they've been doing a ton of like bios for the crew members who are like out there filming and like doing different things. And I have been doing
that for the past few seasons, so that's not new.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just my perception, but I have not seen that like in my feed up until this point. So, but my theory is, okay, so Jeff breaks the fourth wall on the beach in episode 1.
Well, Rebekah, you haven't been watching my Survivor. So hold on, I'm plugging. You haven't watched my Survivor Secrets videos where I include all of the good ones in there during the whole new era.
Amazing.
If you don't want to scroll through years of Instagram posts, check it out. All right, there's the end of my plug. Go ahead with your theory.
There you go. Yeah, but so now that we've got Teeny like breaking the fourth wall looking into the camera. I don't know what that means. I just feel like it means something.
They've been breaking the fourth wall since 41. 41 literally showed cameras. They were like, look at the production team. Jeff's talking to the camera. Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to have fun. Let's change things that you care about.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've done it since then. Like, I don't recall any time that since 41, I don't recall any time since then that Jeff has like acknowledged the crew in the show.
Acknowledge the crew. Not unless there's a medical emergency. Does he ever acknowledge the crew?
Right.
Like when Jackson lied to production at the beginning of 42 and had to get pulled like day one. I think that medical had come out. So maybe he acknowledged there. Jeff talked to the camera 41, 42. I think he did it like once or twice during 43 or 44. Like, I don't remember if he did it. I know for a fact he did 41, 42. They were all in on Jeff talking to us like we're children. I will say that going back and doing a video for Borneo, Kelly Wigglesworth video on Patreon now, Jeff did talk to the camera in season 1 explaining how things worked, but it was season 1 of Survivor.
Right. So we had to kind of explain the rules a bit. It made
sense to explain the very first episode what tribal council is, what tree mail is. Like, it made sense. In 41, it's like, yeah, Jeff, we know. So I wonder if it was kind of like a callback to him explaining things in the beginning in season 1. Because like, it's the new era, dawn of a new era, you know? So that's,
well, in conclusion, teeny side-eyeing the camera is a new meme format, and I love it. It's great.
Cochran did it in 26, and Teeny's done it, and I can't name anyone else off the top of my head who is just dead looked into the camera after something like crazy happened. So I'm not saying it hasn't happened, I'm just saying I don't remember anyone else doing it. So
yes.
Yeah. I don't know if they had another camera angle of that, and they definitely hung on it just so you could see Teeny look into the camera for sure.
Yeah, 1000%.
So I will say, I admit, I ran to the bathroom and they came back out. Andy's shot during this part. Andy's shot in the dark is under the shelter. How did it get there? I missed that part.
Yeah, basically, so they said that, I don't know, he just dropped it, I guess. It fell out of his bag or something.
Did we not see it go under? I thought I saw Sam put it underneath, but what?
Oh, I don't think so. If we did, I missed that.
You also went to the bathroom? What are the odds?
No, I was there the whole time. I was taking notes, but I was there the whole time. No, but so Sierra finds it under the shelter, and then they basically like put it back, and then Sam runs to go tell Andy and like say, hey, like you need to go find this and like make a big deal out of finding it. And so he does that, and then and then Sam is like, oh yeah, like Andy, I'm just mentoring him. And then he has this quote where he says, everything Andy does, he should do the exact opposite of what he thinks he should do. And then they show a clip of like Sam going fishing with Andy in the boat, and like the boat just tipping over when Sam gets out because Andy like didn't properly balance it, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how long you were gone, but then I
literally saw Sam putting something underneath the shelter, and then I was like, okay. So I was like, wait, are we being tricked? Did Sam put it? No, they found it, you're saying, and they just put it back.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I don't think you're allowed to touch other people's advantages unless they give it to you.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they had to put it back or something. Yeah. But they did go through his bag to like make sure it was his, which I thought was funny.
Oh, good reason to look through the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then Andy immediately goes and like talks to Sierra and tells her that he lost it again and had to like search the beach again, which we didn't see. He's just like telling her about this.
I wish we had saw it.
And then he found it a second. He lost it and found it twice in one day. And then he's like, now it's in my sock, just to make sure.
Has anyone ever, I mean, he was offering it to Sierra last week. Maybe that was a good decision for her to hang on to it so it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, honestly.
How is it getting lost? Like, no one's ever, that we've seen on the show, lost their shot in the dark and had to find it.
Just like throwing his bag around, I guess. I don't know. But like Sierra, like it was kind of a game thing too, because Sierra was like, man, Andy's a really sloppy player. Like, I don't know if I want to be aligned with him.
No,
but then she turns around and tells him about the Breadwinner Alliance. Hang on,
what gave it away, Sierra? Was it the first week when he's at the Mini Challenge blowing up all of everything? And
Literally,
yeah.
getting John voted out.
Yeah. Was it that?
Turning on his quote unquote best friend in the game.
But that didn't trigger Sierra enough to go, Andy's a sloppy player. What triggered her was, hey, he lost a shot in the dark a couple times. That's pretty sloppy. Not the blow ups and everything from episode. No, that wasn't it.
No. Which actually, that is interesting now that you bring it up, because she did mention back in episode 1 or 2 about, obviously, like, she was like, oh, we should vote Andy out because he's a sloppy player. And Sam was like, no, we need to keep him.
Right.
But that is interesting because that came back up again this episode. That was one of the things they were bickering about, was that, like, Sam wants to keep Andy and Sierra's, like, talking about potentially voting him out. So, yeah, that is, I don't know. It's interesting.
I will say, I think that long term keeping Andy was the better call than John. I'm trying to think challenge wise. I think Andy's better for them. And I think Andy is not a good enough player to flip the game on its head, if that makes sense. Whereas John likely could have done that and it could have ruined. Whereas Andy, if Andy does anything, it might be something dumb and that could ruin it. But like, you got to do risk here. John's smart. John can flip the game theoretically.
Yes.
Obviously he didn't do it. Theoretically he could flip the game. Andy, is he going to flip the game? I don't know about that.
Not on purpose.
I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying that I feel like the risk, like the long-term risk reward, are better challenges. What's his likelihood of flipping the game on its head? He's more likely to be solved with us than John. Like, I get it now.
Well, and also from Sam's perspective, because we're watching this season through Sam's perspective, he, like, having Andy there is way better for him. Because, I mean, even in this episode, Sierra tells Andy about the Breadwinner Alliance, and Andy immediately goes to Sam and tells him. Like, we've seen over and over again, like, as soon as Andy gets information, he's taking it to Sam. And so between that, and I mean, I know Sam and Sierra are kind of tiff, like in a bit of a tiff right now,
they haven't done their couples counseling yet. That's maybe
their survivor counseling
Andy
or whatever
could be
she called it.
Couples counselor.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is that, Sam is getting information. Like, nothing is going to go on in this tribe without Sam knowing about it for the moment.
No, Sam's definitely our leader on this tribe.
Yes.
Who cares what Blue's up to? Who gives a rip?
Literally.
If Sue didn't find that, if Sue didn't find the advantage, like, we did nothing at Blue. Gabe reminded us that he likes Sue and she wants. Sue finds the advantage, and that's a little weird that she was covered in red. Moo. They lived their lives, Rebekah, for 48 hours to get no screen time. Screen time. That's how, I don't know, man. All right, so just a whole thing. I will point out, though, to support my Sierra as our underdog as my underdog number 3, which we will talk about, of course, during winter analysis. My top 3 have not changed. Everyone else has changed. My top 3 are the same. Andy says he can cry with Sierra, which I thought was telling, because if, let's say theoretically, Andy makes the jury, someone he feels like he could cry with could get his vote over someone else like Sam. Sure, he's telling Sam everything now, but you feel more emotionally connected to Sierra. That could win her. She could win your vote that way over Sam. Just thrown out there. Also, when Andy was talking about Sierra with Sam, they cut to a shot of Sierra looking mighty fine coming out of the ocean. I want to point out, it wasn't like I don't know. Like, it's the choice of shots you cut to when you cut to somebody. It's like, oh, are they doing something dumb? Or is a normal shot? No, it's definitely like more of a glamour shot coming out of the ocean. Just thrown out there. So anyways, just choice of shots and things and whatnot. Very important to the figuring who the winner is going to be. Are you ready to go to the immunity challenge?
Indeed. I am ready.
Can you believe they did something new? They had a puzzle at the... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, crazy. Also, just want to point out, part of this challenge is what was at the beach drop in Nashville. I did not get to participate because I never made it in the tent, but that's another video.
Yes, we did do a podcast about the horrendous Survivor beach drop that was Nashville. Apparently the one in Brooklyn went better, or wherever in New York.
It looked good from the photos.
They had an RSVP, and I didn't see a ton of comments complaining about it. So I'm assuming it went better because there were not a ton of comments.
The photos from inside, it looked like there was there was so much space. Like, I don't know if there was hardly anyone there or if they were just spread out enough that there was no crowding, but yeah, it looked amazing.
It looked like it was better
good
planned than the Nashville one for sure. So I'm glad the Survivor learned their lesson. Okay, tell us about the immunity challenge. That's all new.
All right. Yes, brand new ideas.
Puzzle, Jeff said.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he made a big deal about the puzzle being new.
Brand new.
Brand new. So for this challenge, each tribe had to roll a giant, like, heavy metal cube. Roll it down like obstacle, or not really an obstacle. They just had to roll it straight.
Yeah.
And then they had to climb on it to retrieve 2 bags that had blocks in them. And so once they had those bags, then they had to use the blocks to build like this window frame obstacle thing that was like very fragile. And so then they had to throw sandbags through the obstacle and land them on a barrel without knocking it over. And so, yeah, if you knock it over, you have to rebuild and then toss the sandbag again. Once they do that, they had to move a bunch of sandbags and then dig under where they were to get keys and use the keys to unlock like a rope thing to let the tribe through. And then at the very end, they had to do brand new fire puzzle, as Jeff said. So, that was the challenge.
A brand new fire puzzle, even though they've done fire puzzles in the past, but this one is
never seen it
new.
Before.
Whoa, crazy. Did Rome throw this challenge?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's my real. Mary said it while he was doing it. I'm like, no. I'm like, Rome's not throwing. He's just really bad. And then he did so bad he didn't get a piece on there. And I was like, maybe Mary's right. Maybe he is throwing. And I'm like, and then we're gonna get like a flashback. Oh, we plan on throwing it to get out Solomon, but we never got anything like that. And Rome just told Jeff, I don't think there's anything else I could have done. We're just bad at puzzles.
Yeah, like reassessing, strategizing, none of that would have helped. Like, yeah.
He's like, no, we were just effed. That's basically what he said.
Yeah, I honestly, like, that is interesting. It didn't occur to me that he was throwing it. I always just thought that it was him being, like, I guess there's no nice way to say this. He was just being prideful and like, yeah, I'm going to put myself in this position. He very confidently just like sat down in front of the puzzle and was like, all right, Genevieve, hand me all the pieces one at a time. Instead of it being like a team effort, he wanted to be the one to like put the pieces in.
Blown away.
Yeah, that's kind of
blown away.
Absolutely, yeah. It came across to me more as just like, I guess, arrogant. He just thought that he could, do it easily and then failed.
Rome, if you want to, Rome. I was, by the way, they have that song on Rock Band 4 and I was playing it on drums. And that is a heck of a song to play on drums as it turned out. I did not know this. And I was playing it, I was like, holy crap, I feel like my arms are going to fall off. For real, like the song goes so hard on drums that you have no idea when you listen to it. You're like, oh, what a fun, upbeat song to listen to on a road trip or during the summer. And then you play on drums, you're like, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting murdered. My arms are being murdered.
I'm getting murdered by this drum set. Yeah.
I have to hit it so many times to do this song. All right. Rock Band 4, by the way.
Genevieve is strangling me.
Genevieve is strangling me. Rock Band 4, by the way, legit, for those wondering, it has over 3,000 songs. If you're like, oh, I haven't thought about those games in forever. Yeah. Well, they stopped working on it this year, actually, to do Fortnite Festival. Ooh. TLDR. Wow. But TLDR is that Rock Band 4 still exists. You can get it for pretty cheap. And freaking A has like 3,000 songs. Yeah.
Nice.
And Rome is one of them. I mean, you can listen to it on YouTube, but why do that when you can play it on Rock Band? Rome, if you want to. All right. Yeah. So Rome didn't throw. I'm shocked. Journey. Oh, Jeff just said there's a journey. There's a journey. Yeah. It's happening. Okay. Idiots. And so Andy, Teeny, and Caroline are going. We'll get to that later. We finished the challenge, and I thought about it a little bit, but I was like, who cares? Genevieve gets the confessional coming out of the challenge. And I have talked about this in the past. I remember I did how to figure out who the winner is. I did this back during the 41-42 era. So I really leaned into how to identify a winner. And it was really the Fiji era at the time, where it was from 33 through 40, I want to say. I analyzed all those winners. I'm like, all right, what's consistent amongst these winners? And one of the consistencies was a winner will get the confessional coming out of a challenge. Now, that's not always indicative. Somebody always gets confessional coming out challenge. It's not always the winner, but it is something a winner gets. It's not guaranteed. I just want to be very clear. Like, I'm not saying Genevieve's the winner because she got that, but it's one of those, like, it's like if you get a confessional command challenge, either A, because you did something, B, like B, you are a part of something, or if you're getting we get your perspective. We've talked about this. I feel like you and I, if we get your perspective and you weren't even like, we should have got Rome, right? Rome should have talked.
Right.
Like, Rome blew the challenge. Genevieve, I guess, Rome blew the challenge. That's what happened.
Yeah.
We should have got a confessional from Rome, right? Or we should have got a confessional from somebody saying Rome's got to go. And I forget maybe that's what Genevieve said. It was just weird that we heard from Genevieve out of the whole Red Tribe. I was like, a teeny confessional would make sense. Solomon confessional would make sense. Rome's got to go. Genevieve, out of all the people, they picked her. Well, it's turned out that it's because she's important in this episode. So throw that there. It was like kind of weird at the moment. I'm like, why is Genevieve getting the important confessional exiting the challenge?
Right.
Oh.
At this point, I wrote in my notes, because I don't remember what she was saying either, but I was like, is she going home tonight? Like, that it was weird, like, timing, because like you mentioned, that's normally a really important thing.
It is. It's important confessional to get
hear from someone after the challenge. But I was like, why are we hearing from her all of a sudden? Is it because she's going home? But turns out it's because she was in charge of the vote tonight, basically.
Who knew? So we exit the challenge. We don't check in with Blue. Blue's been long forgotten. Guys, Blue does not have the winner.
Right.
Don't even focus on Blue as the winner. Blue can have fun with their pilot jokes and whatnot. They're not the winner. So we don't go over to the Red Tribe, who lost the challenge. We'll have enough time with them later. We go to Yellow. As we talked about earlier, Sam wants to kill a chicken and eat it. He's just seeing all that protein. He's like, oh, I need the protein. And Sierra's like, no, we protect the chickens. They're going to lay us eggs. Which, by the way, history has told us that they don't lay eggs. You need to feed them and make them feel safe. And they're getting neither of those things.
One of them already tried to escape.
Yes.
Like,
chickens are not your friends in this game. You just eat them. They're not friends they don't pet them. Ty made Mark the chicken his friend and he still didn't win the game. Okay. Chickens are not how you win Survivor. Just eat the chicken. It is okay.
I did
What do you
really
save it for the
appreciate
merge when you get voted off and then other people can eat it?
Yeah, saving it for others. I loved how like intense Sierra was about this though. She was like, I love the chickens. They're my best friends. I want to pet them. I have chickens back home that I interact with all the time. Like, chickens are the best.
Relationship with Sam is gone. That's out the window. My relationship with the chickens has increased.
It's like, I can't tell, like, I think she was being sincere. I'm not doubting that. But I'm like partly wondering, is she like trying to pick fights with Sam because like of the whole thing about like, oh, are they dating? So now she has to be like, no, we're just fighting all the time. I hate him.
I can't
also,
say
he's my number one ally, but we are not killing the chicken. We are voting for Andy. Like,
I can't say you're wrong, but I will say that the fact that we cut back to Yellow and we just focus on Sam and Sierra is really telling. I mean, we heard a little bit from the other girls, but no, it was really Sam and Sierra scene. That's what this was. 1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%. Maybe the real fight isn't Sam and Annika, like we were saying. Maybe it's Sam and Sierra.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I think you're right.
That might be the real fight we're heading towards. We'll see. This could just
Annika was just the catalyst.
No, I still think it's Sam versus Annika. I think it's still going to be Sam versus Annika. I think we're just developing the Sam Sierra relationship because that will matter long term in the story. I really, if I'm being real, I think that's really what's happening. I jokingly think that they're at odds, but I seriously think we're just setting them up for long term because at some point one of them's going to betray the other one of them will beat the other one, or somehow they both get the final three and one beats the other. I mean, like at some point one of them's beating the other one. They have to. It's just the way the nature of this game. I think this relationship matters, and that's why we're getting focused on it so much. So. All right, not relationship though in terms of romantic. I mean, not in a homosexual way, that's for sure, as Rudy said in season 1. So
yes,
I like Richard. He's a good guy. Not in a homosexual way, that's for sure. All right,
classic. Rome
says Solomon is a goner and threatens him with a shot in the dark. He's like, "I'm gonna steal your vote, Solomon." Solomon's like, "I am a person trying to live my life." Like, I think what Solomon's saying is you don't have to be so. I mean, Solomon's too old to say it like this. You don't have to be so extra, man. You can just like do your thing. You don't have to go this hard on me. There's no need. Like, he's ultimatum threatening Sol. But like, what's the ultimatum? It wasn't like, hey, vote with me, Solomon, to make this happen, or I'm going to steal your vote. No, it was, I'm going to steal your vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can just give me your shot in the dark. That's not an ultimatum. There's no, the choice is he's going home no matter what, right?
Yeah, the choice is nothing.
There's
exactly.
no choice.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, like I understand too, like what Saul is saying, like, hey, just leave me alone. But it's also like very funny to me, like, because I'm on board. I agree with Saul that like Rome is being very extra. But it's also funny for Saul to just be like on Survivor and be like, can everyone just like leave me alone? Like, I'm just trying to like hang out on this beach and like, I don't know. I mean, again, I think he's right, but if it's just like funny that he's saying
there's
stuff
no
like
need.
that.
If what Rome's trying to accomplish is just to acquire Solomon's shot in the dark, right? Well, you don't do it by threatening him. You do it by like, hey, this is the only way I know that I can trust you at this next vote to vote off insert name here is by giving me your shot in the dark. Now, that would have backfired. Solomon would have told the others that Rome offered him that deal to vote off somebody else. So it's actually for the best, believe it or not, for Rome to threaten Solomon because everyone knows where Rome stands. Believe it or not. And I'm not saying, by the way, let's be clear. The best move was to not threaten him at all. But if it was between threatening for a shot in the dark or to make a sly move and be like, hey, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. It actually worked out better to threaten him for the, but like he should not have done anything. I mean, he shouldn't have done this at all. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why.
Honestly, I think that's Rome's biggest problem is like we've seen this a couple of times where he'll like go up and talk to people when he just really doesn't need to, mostly Saul, and just like, it's like, hey, you could just not like say anything.
Yeah.
You're not like working together. You don't have to strategize with this person or like try and manipulate them or whatever. But I think that's his thing. He wants to be like in control of everything that's happening at camp. And I mean, again, very entertaining for TV. I don't think he's going to win with this strategy, but it's very entertaining to watch for sure.
Oh no, Rome's entertaining. Yeah. So when I say it's the best move, I don't mean it's the best move. I'm just saying if Rome had to be extra, it's better, I guess.
Which he does because he's Rome.
Yes. That's the thing. So like people ask, oh, how could have Russell Hantz won the game? By being someone else. So that's not an option.
Literally.
So that's not an option.
Yeah.
So when you approach it from how could Russell win the game as Russell, it's a lot harder to answer. So how could Rome have gone about the situation? He has to be extra and he has to talk to Solomon because that's the way Rome is as a person. So he had two options, I guess, in that situation. A was to threaten Solomon like he did, as we saw on the show. Or B was be like, hey, try to trick him, basically. Hey, which was what he was also trying to do. He's trying to trick him, but terribly. His other way was to be better about tricking him, be like, hey, give me your shot in the dark, and then I'll know I can trust you for us to vote for Keyshawn, Genevieve, whoever, Teeny. And which would have blown up in his face. I think Solomon would have told the others, hey, Rome just said this. He said, if I give him my shot in the dark, he's going to vote for, and then they would have called Rome out on that, and Rome is not a good liar. He's terrible socially. No. They would have figured out right away that what Solomon said's the truth. And they'd be like, huh. And then we'd got a Genevieve flipping on Rome moment instead of Genevieve flipping on Keyshawn or whatever. What I'm saying is that if Rome had to be extra, I can't believe that this is the better, not the right move, the better move. That doesn't mean it's right. The better move between what I assume would have been one of two for Rome as Rome as a person. It's so hard to explain that. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. But
yeah,
if Rome has to be Rome, which he does because he is Rome, then I guess he made the better of the two decisions. The best decision is to not be Rome and to not threaten, to be clear. That is the best decision. It is not the most entertaining decision on TV, though. So anyways, yeah. Keyshawn wants Rome out, and I gotta say, his tie vote plan was flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless. Like, that was a brilliant
Very
plan.
good. Yep.
Because he's like, okay, they're going to vote for each other. We can create a tie vote, and on a revote, he's correct. Solomon nor Rome can vote, so it's just up to him and Genevieve. And because he assumed, what if Teeny doesn't have a vote? Because Teeny has a vote, then the tie vote would never have happened. But he's like, okay, Teeny loses a vote. Turns out he's correct. If Teeny loses a vote, we do this tie vote, and then on a revote, we just vote off Rome because we have both votes that are still in the game. Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant. Because Rome and Saul vote for each other, or Rome steals Saul's vote. It doesn't matter. Either way, he knew it was a tie vote.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. I was like, man, Keyshawn is pretty smart, right? He got the mastermind thing earlier. I'm like, he came up with the right move. Turns out he done screwed up, didn't he? Done screwed up.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's one of those things we see it over and over again. It's like as soon as you get too confident or too comfortable, because I think that was his downfall. It's just like being too confident and not like, I don't know, not thinking through like, oh, is this going to get back to Genevieve that I threw her name out?
Use Genevieve as a decoy.
No, he didn't. He just didn't want his name out there. But like, I guess I kind of get that. But yeah, it was just too much too soon, and he got too comfortable. And you hate to see it, but yeah,
no, I love to see it. I love
every
to see
season.
It. I love to see it.
Oh, you love to see it.
Love to see
Coffee. Okay.
the cockiness get cut. I mean, when Rome eventually gets cut down, it'll be great.
Yes.
I hope Rome gets built more and more up. I hope Rome thinks he's playing some amazing 10 out of 10 game. So when he loses, it's all the more satisfying. Anyways, I think Keyshawn's plan was brilliant. As we learned, he screwed up saying Genevieve's name. Really, he didn't need to do that. Kind of like Rome, it was an extra move. You didn't have to do that. You already know Rome's voting for Solomon. Solomon's voting for Rome. And if Rome seals Solomon's vote, he's voting for, like, you already know that's happening. You don't have to fake and pretend. You could just tell Rome, hey, yeah, we'll vote for Solomon with you. And you tell Solomon, hey, we're voting for Rome. And that's it, because it doesn't matter, because in a tie vote, you're going to get your way. You did not have to say Genevieve. There was no need at all to say it. I'm saying this, though, with 2020 hindsight and perfect vision.
Yeah, because to play devil's advocate, the thing that I could see him, because I know he was really concerned about Genevieve and Rome being so close, because they are like working together, it seems. So like, yeah, if Genevieve doesn't vote with him, that does screw up the whole tie vote plan. So yeah, but like, I guess he could see that being like, oh, well, if they're having these conversations and Rome throws my name out, well, what if I get ahead of that? But again, yeah, it's just unfortunately with hindsight, it was too much too soon.
Yeah, that's what our podcast's here for, though. I mean, besides figuring out the winner, is just having 2020 perfect hindsight and sounding like perfect. Like, I'm not, like, if I went on the show, I would be the first out or final three go. Let's be real. Anyways, I think you'd be better off Rebekah than me. Rebekah, I think if you played, if you were a GOAT, it's only because you weren't cutthroat enough. But I feel like knowing you, Rebekah, you would wait to get comfortable until post-merge, which, by the way, is the right time to get comfortable. And then when you got comfortable, you try to make a move, and it would either A, work, or B, blow up in your face. Yeah. That would be you.
Yeah. And then I feel like, I don't think I would win, but I do think I could make it, potentially. I think I could make it relatively deep in the game, but I would not win.
You at final three, I think, get second place.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd make it to final three, to be honest. I feel like I'm kind of a mid, like, merge boot.
But I'm saying if somehow you got to final three, you'd be second place. I don't think you have the killer instinct to be first. That. So you would need to go to the end with somebody like a Russell Hantz or a Cassidy from 43, where like people just don't want to vote for you. Vote for the other people, they vote for you. Yes. That's your best chance. Me, I am. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like, well, yeah, I honestly feel like I might be that too, where it's like, okay, what gameplay? Here's the thing. I think we should settle this on the island. Let's get on a season of Survivor. Right, yeah. We'll settle this on the island. Blood versus water. We're water. I think in a final three between me, you, and Mary, who wins? That's the question. Comment, people. I want to know. Final three in a theoretical situation, knowing our personalities from the podcast, which, by the way, is just me on a daily basis. Is nothing different here than I try talk a little more better. There you go. That was amazing for the podcast. Perfect. I up my voice a little bit, but that's about it. It's just me. Yeah. I think same for Mary. I can't. Rebekah, are you putting on a show?
This is fully a character. My name is actually not even Rebekah. So yeah.
Her name's John Lovett. Anyways,
been undercover this whole time.
I want to know who wins in a final three between me, you, and Mary. My suspicion is Mary.
Yeah. I agree. I would vote for Mary.
My suspicion is I'm unlikable. In the final three on Survivor, I'm the unlikable one who gets no votes. You get a couple votes. People are like, very sweet and nice, and her voice is soothing. Yeah. And I love being around her. Vote for her. I think Mary wins. And I'd be like, guys, look at my resume. Look at all the moves I made. They're like, yeah, Wesley, but like, you know?
But you burned all of us on the jury.
You made me feel like crap leaving when you laughed at me as I was voted off. And I'd be like, it was funny, right? We all laughed. Nobody laughed, just me. Like, I'm Tony on Kai Guyon clapping for people as they get voted off, but not like Tony.
I'm just side-eyeing the camera. No one notices except
Rebekah
for in the edit.
Looks dead in the camera. I'm clapping and saying, this is my island. Yeah. When Troy,
Mary is like genuinely apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I love you. It's been so great playing with you.
Didn't want to do that. You were a great player. Yeah.
I felt really bad voting for you.
And she'd be legitimate too.
No,
Mary doesn't like Mary.
Oh,
is
yeah.
anti-lying. So Mary would be legitimate when saying all that. People would believe her.
So sincere.
Yeah. And I would be like, I'm Troy Zan in one world where he's like, this is my island. Woo! He high fives Jeff when he wins immunity and like goes, yeah, get me now. Like all that. That's me, unfortunately. All right. Just want to say I know I'm Final 3 goat. Okay. It's fine. Anyways, I think Mary wins this hypothetical Final 3. What a wild Final 3, by the way. What are the odds?
Yeah. How would we get there? Like that would be crazy.
We'd have to do like an unofficial survivor, obviously, for that situation ever occur, realistically.
Agreed.
So anyways, back to the actual episode. Andy sells himself as a social outcast that they can work with. This is the journey that they can work with.
Yes.
And that was the only part of that conversation that seemed like it mattered. Teeny's like, I'm going to tribal. I need my vote. And Carolyn's like, yeah, there's a bro thing, which by the way is irrelevant to the story. So Carolyn had to say something. There's a bro thing.
Well, she was even like, there was a bro thing. Yeah, it's not even happening anymore. Yeah,
that's all. Because she had to give them something, so she gave them something irrelevant. Smart on Carolyn. Just story-wise doesn't matter. Andy, though, selling himself as a social outcast who maybe they could work with come the merge is interesting. That could be an in for Sam and him and Sierra come the merge.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, and because he was even like, oh, I'm on the bottom and I have low information. Come see me after the merge. Yeah. So it was basically, it kind of seemed to me like he was hinting like, oh, I'll give you more information. Like, I'll work with you, but I'm just not going to give it yet.
Andy's making the merge. That's what I heard.
Yeah. For sure.
Keep that in mind for fantasy people. Andy's making the merge. Don't put votes on Andy. He's making the merge. Also, Sam and Sierra are making the merge. Be real. All your votes should be on Annika and Rachel if they aren't already. I know, like, this is why I can give this advice out freely because people aren't trying to beat me in fantasy, trying to beat the other. Like, if I win, whatever, okay.
Right. What if next week everyone in the league just votes exactly the same?
No.
And has the same people on their tribes?
There's like 80 people. There's no way. It's just impossible.
Wow. Yeah.
It's impossible for everyone to vote the same. Anyway, so Teeny loses her vote. She ends up eating that. What do you think about this move for her to eat the vote? And the amulet.
I was really surprised.
The new one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the amulet thing, like, I don't know. I feel like it's fine. We've seen it before. It's like, I don't know. I don't think it's ever been used until there's only one in the game, right? Like, I don't know if we've ever seen people actually use it the way it's meant to be used. It's just like incentive to vote the other people out faster. So you have an idol.
There's no incentive to keep the other people. None.
Yeah, exactly.
From other tribes who you're not aligned with.
Right. Like, I mean, like you said, maybe there's something where like Andy does end up in an alliance with Teeny or something. So like I could see them potentially working together, but you're not going to work together just because the other person has an amulet. Yeah. Like if you're already in an alliance and two of you have an amulet, you can work together. But yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. In terms of like Teeny giving up her vote, I was like honestly kind of surprised. Because, and I mean, obviously it's edited for TV, but it seemed like Teeny gave up her vote relatively easily. Like, obviously said, like, hey, I'm going tonight. I need my vote. But then was pretty quickly like, let me do the numbers. All right, I'll give up my vote.
I think Teeny felt secure that she wasn't going anywhere, which was obviously a big factor. Also, she's like, well, if I'm going to lose my vote, I might as well get something out of it, which I think she actually said on the show, if I recall.
Yes.
So I get the thought of the other two aren't budging. I might as well get something out. If I'm going to lose my vote, I might as well get, instead of burning two other people, I might as well get something out of this. So overall, if somebody had to lose their vote, I mean, personally, I think Carolyn should have. Carolyn's like, oh, it's so tumultuous. Like, what are you talking about? Kyle's in the bottom and there's the other four of you. What tumultuous, my butt. And then literally. Andy, though, Andy needed his vote. I'm with Andy. Andy needed his vote.
That's almost why I was kind of surprised that Teeny just gave it up because, yeah, I feel like I was surprised that Teeny didn't at least try to talk Caroline into giving up her vote. Like, there was not really much conversation. It was just kind of like, everyone was like, I need my vote. And then no one tried to like convince anyone else to give up their vote, which again, yeah, maybe would have backfired. Maybe it is better to like leave the door open to work with people more. So I'm not saying it was a bad move, but I was just surprised that it happened so quickly.
Yeah, I really think that obviously it's cut down for time, but it really does come down to Teeny felt like, all right, I know where this vote's going tonight. Solomon or Rome. And and I'm fine. And little did she know. So
that Genevieve was running the tribe back on their beach.
For those forgetting how the amulets used to work, it used to be like, if ever all 3 people with their amulets agree to use them together, they can have an extra vote. Like, come on now. And then if we get down to 2 people and they have their amulets and they combine them, it becomes a steal vote. It's like, come on now. And then when 1 person's left, it's an idol. And like, that's the only useful of the 3. When are 3 people going to agree on the other, on let's have an extra vote together? If there's only 3 of you agreeing, like how many more votes do you need? Like, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
like at that point, you have also people you're aligned with. Like, come on. Like it was the Survivor knew, like it just puts targets in back. This time Survivor tried making the amulets have the same power no matter how many are available. So I get what they're going for. Theoretically, I could see 2 amulets being used together, which is an improvement over they were never going to be used. 2 of them never going to be used together. I could see 2 being used together, like you said, maybe Teeny and Andy. Based on the story narrative, it seems like maybe those 2 could agree on someone saving somebody come a vote. I still can't see all 3 being agreed on. It just puts a target on somebody else's back. It puts a target on Carolyn's back, puts a target on Teeny's back, Andy's back, but narratively it puts a target on Carolyn's back.
Yeah.
Narratively, based on what we've seen. Yeah, dude, if I showed up and it's like the amulet thing and I'm not, all right, so like Teeny said, I might as well get something out of it, right? I don't know. I think I'd rather us all lose our votes. I think I'd rather risk a tribal than have a target on my back the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting too, because Andy and Caroline both were like, just told their whole tribe, like, oh yeah, here's the amulet. Here's how it works. Like all that. Teeny at least was smart about like only telling people that she was working with. I think she just told Kishan and Genevieve from what we saw. Yeah. Oh, and then did she tell Saul about it?
I don't
they had a conversation.
Remember Teeny actually telling her tribe. Remember the other 2 telling, and we cut to Teeny being like, I'm glad Kishan can make decisions without me around, like to make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Little does she know, again.
She, during that, I think during the conversation with Kishan and Genevieve, she definitely told them about it. About the amulet, but she did tell the whole tribe that she lost her vote.
Yes, that's accurate. So here's my thought on why don't we just all lose our votes? Of course, I guess that kind of requires the other 2 to agree on that. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, let's say, okay, I'm trying to think this through. If I am in Teeny's spot, I'm like, okay, another person's like, I want to lose my vote, so you guys keep yours. Can you also be like, no, I want to also lose my vote? Can you force nobody to get the amulets?
2 people, like have 2, like if you say like
they all have to agree.
No, I want to lose my vote.
Or you have to. Okay, I guess the strategy here is to burn time till the timer's done.
Yes,
if you
that's
want
interesting.
And I know this is a risk. And I know, look, either way, you got thrown into a crap scenario being put on this journey. 2 of them didn't get to pick if they went on it. I mean, and realistically, nobody got to pick about the journey at all. It wasn't optional. It was a required journey. Again, I hate required journeys.
Actually, that's a great point. Why in the world did they send Andy on this journey?
Usually
like
gain trust.
After so much like conversation in their tribe about like, oh, Andy's such a sloppy player, like we don't trust him. And then they're gonna send him on a journey where he can just like share information with the other tribes
when
he's already like shown that he's gonna do that. I guess, but it was this episode that Sierra was talking about how much of a sloppy player he is. So
they're like, well, if anyone's gonna lose their vote, let it be Andy.
You know what? That's probably what it was. I think you're right.
That's probably all it was, to be frank. So anyways, I'm just saying that I guess the strategy is to burn time and be like, I don't agree with the decision being made here the whole time. Now, not roaming it the way I just said it was kind of like how Rome would probably do it. But basically, and the reason I say this is because I think it's better to have to survive a tribal without a vote, which is so crazy to say, than to have the target on your back for the rest of the game with that amulet. Because it's not like you can use the amulet individually from other people for something lesser than. That would be fine.
Right.
If like everyone combines their amulets, it's an idol. And if 2 of you combine an amulet, it's a steal vote. One and only 1 amulet equals an extra vote. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need other amulets to make that happen. It's just, that would be a compromise. There's like your amulet by itself is an extra vote. Instead of the having to agree part, the agree part puts a target. That's the target. So at least you can be like, I use my amulet
and especially
already.
especially now that the entire blue and yellow tribes know about the amulets, and then like at least a couple people on the red tribe, like so many people in the in a merge situation, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, Teeny has an amulet. Yeah. And then like the couple people that are out of the loop on the red tribe are going to be like, why didn't you tell me? Why does everyone else here know about this? And then, yeah, it's all around not good. Like, yeah, not great.
The targets on your back of the amulet thing. It's a pro and a con. The con is also you may have ticked off the other two by making this happen. I mean, if you're in Teeny's position, their two didn't seem like they're going to budge. Anyways, so if you also don't budge, then everyone can be a little bit mad, but they're not like they also didn't budge. It's not like somebody else volunteered and then you shut down their volunteering. That would probably actually be the worst.
Right.
So I guess I'm saying that I would rather have to survive a tribal without a vote than have to go the rest of the game with an amulet in my pocket that I didn't even have a choice on. Like they showed up, they flipped the thing. It's like, no, this is what's happening. Like two of them didn't even get picked to go on the journey. It's just, I don't like I like when journeys have an option to opt out of it. I don't like when I hate when they don't. I know that feeds into just, it's the dangers, it's predictable. We've seen this before. We've seen all of this before. This is
so dangerous. You might lose a vote.
It's the scene in Back to the Future where he's like, hey, I've seen this before. What do you mean? This is new. Because he says it's a rerun. I feel like that's these journeys like, hey, I've seen this before, but it's a new episode. But I've seen this. Yep. I've seen this journey before. I've seen this happen. Anyways, so all right, we go back to the red camp and teeny. I gotta say before we switch the narrative.
Yep.
It is all Teeny. Teeny gets back here from Teeny. I wrote that down. Little did I know. Moments later, Genevieve was like, Rome again. By the way, saving his own hide. Who he didn't even mean to. Tells Genevieve, hey, Keyshawn said that you're the fake vote, but like obviously you're not going anywhere. And Genevieve's like, what? Yeah. And it has like this like. I don't know how to explain the edit.
I love the Survivor montages.
The montage. Yeah.
It was like she was remembering things that she was not present for. It was incredible.
Genevieve like
no notes,
gains
10 out of
telepathic
10.
abilities. Genevieve's like
she's like
it is literally a scene where it's like everything clicked for Genevieve. Genevieve put the car out of first gear and went right into sixth. She's like, screw that. Even though she knows she's not going anywhere, she's like, screw that. I see the long-term effects of this. If Keyshawn's willing to put my name out there as the fake vote, that means that he's willing to vote me out, which by the way is true. You don't put your number one ally as a fake, as like here, as the, what's it called? The fake vote.
Right.
What's it called?
Yeah. The decoy?
Decoy, yeah. You don't see that. You don't say your ally is your number one ally is your decoy. You never say that. Like, I cannot think of an example. I'm sure there's an example in 47 seasons. Well, actually, Wesley, remember in season 13, Cook Islands? Yes, I'm sure it's happened. I'm saying that it's not a good decision to do that. And therefore, Genevieve made the right call being like, Keyshawn's willing to put my name out there now as a decoy. It means he's willing to vote me off later. Right.
Which it's so funny, actually, now that like you've pointed this out, I'm realizing that Keyshawn was overplaying and that was his demise. But Rome was overplaying by telling Genevieve when he didn't need to.
He didn't need to.
And that saved his hide.
Yes.
It's so crazy. Like, this game is so crazy. Sometimes you can do the exact same move and it will either get you sent home or it will save you from going home.
Keyshawn made one left turn. Rome made 3 and he took a right.
That's true.
That's what happened. Keyshawn made one left turn. Not enough. Not enough.
If you're going to overplay, just really commit to it.
You got to make at least 3 left turns to make that right. You know what I'm saying? That's some sage wisdom right there.
That's funny.
I mean, ideally, you make no left turns. You just make the right turn. But if you have to make left turns, I guess, make a bunch of them.
Just keep turning left.
Keep turning left till you might.
Just really drive in circles.
No, you eventually have to make a right, Rebekah, okay? Anyways,
okay.
So just insanity. I will say, if Genevieve didn't have a Zero Confessional episode, that this would be huge. And we'll see how it's followed up. This reminds me of season 41 with Erica, when Erica had no content. And then there's that challenge where people are like, we're going to throw this challenge, get at Erica. And then they failed. And then they're like, well, I guess Erica's safe. Oh, dang it. Too bad. Nasir screwed it up for us. And then Erica wins the game. Now, it obviously didn't happen in that order. There were things in between. But it was like, that was such a random way of going. Like, they did not have to edit. They've never done that before or since with the episode. Like we're throwing this, like they had like a whole narrative in the middle of a challenge about we're doing this to get out Erica. And then they failed. And that's what this reminds me of with Genevieve. It's like, what? Genevieve? And I was like, and he was like, what? Erica? Why do we care about Erica? We won't vote off Erica? And here it's like Genevieve's in charge.
Right.
And I wanted, that's like, it's really huge if she didn't have a zero confessional episode before this. So it's definitely factored in, but I am hesitant to shoot her up the rankings, though I want to. Because this is a purposeful decision, and it could just be a one episode thing. If we go back to we have the very next episode, and also Genevieve's back to doing one, maybe two confessionals an episode, where it's like she's just talking about other people, then whatever. But if this is the turning point, Genevieve is now a big player, or at least in the narrative, and we need to all pay attention. And maybe they're doing as they did zero confessionals just to screw with people who analyze the winner at it like us, and that's great. I don't like, by the way, when winners get zero confessionals an episode, but it's happened. It's just in the new era, it doesn't. They haven't done it since 41, and they got backlash. So they stopped doing it. So we'll see. They stopped doing it, but we'll see. I don't know. 47, maybe they're screwing with us. I gotta go back and watch the intro. Did Genevieve have a hint in the intro I didn't catch? I'll look again.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this is massive. What did you think about this whole narrative shift?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. You know, I was very taken aback by it first, because it was like, who's Genevieve? Like, oh, wow, she's like talking for the first time, you know, in this episode. And, you know, even like in previous episodes, not only were we not getting confessionals, it was like we weren't hardly seeing her at camp. Every time that she was talked about, it was in relation to like, oh, she and Rome are close. Even like the beginning of this episode, that was the whole narrative, was like, we just need to get Genevieve out because Rome is too powerful with her here. And so, yeah, it was very sudden. But again, I really like it when the edit kind of messes with us a little bit. And it's like, oh, this is surprising. This is actually like, I didn't see this coming. But it makes sense. It's not like totally out of nowhere. Like they you know, did a good job of giving us enough confessionals from her in this episode that it was okay, cool. You know, So I really enjoyed the ending of this episode. I love seeing her take charge and everything. And like you said, we'll see what happens next week. I'll be curious if
the follow-up is
she's going to stick around for a little bit. Yeah.
So this was an amazing choice. This is why it's the best episode of the season, is this narrative shift combined with it totally upends everything we expected. We expected Teeny to come back. We expected the tie vote to happen and like, oh, Keyshawn made a smart move. And we'd be sitting here right now and be like, yeah, that was really smart by Keyshawn. The numbers worked out and everything. And Teeny, lucky for
really
Teeny,
this.
luckily Teeny's aligned with Keyshawn, you know, because Keyshawn, you know, and we were talking about how Teeny is good, and no, Genevieve. So, amazing. I love a good upset. We all know I love that Gabler shocked us all with the win. I love that Genevieve shocked us all this episode. Yeah, I'm all for, please shock me. I love it. So, with that said, long story short, it comes down to the fact that I think Rome sealing Keyshawn's vote is why Solomon, and of course we didn't see everything, is why Solomon doesn't vote for Rome like he was dead set on doing. Because I think that was and they probably didn't show it. I'm sure Rome told Solomon, I'm going to do this. And Solomon's like, all right, if you do it, then I'll vote for Keyshawn. They don't want to show that because they want it to be an upset still for us. I think Rome seals a vote from Keyshawn, and then Solomon's like, okay, Rome's going to do what he said he was going to do. And they voted out Keyshawn all together as a unit, because that would, because he didn't need to steal Keyshawn's vote, by the way. There's no need. There's no need to do that.
Right. Well, the only need was that if Rome and Solomon were not communicating beforehand, I think he thought that Solomon was going to play his shot in the dark. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess even still, he wouldn't need to, because they would still have
it would have been 2-1
votes on Keyshawn.
It would have been 2-1.
But Rome did know that Teeny didn't have her vote.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. That is interesting.
There was no need to steal Keyshawn's vote in terms of numbers if Solomon's voting for Keyshawn. I think Rome had to steal Keyshawn's vote to prove to Solomon what they said they were doing, and he did it. There was no need to do it. By the way, Rome's face when voting for people, if you can watch it during Keyshawn talking about how he got blindsided, Rome's face when voting for Keyshawn twice, I want to know what he's saying because he's clearly being snarky or whatever the word is. He's so
1,000%. Even like
Rome.
the second vote that we didn't get to see Jeff read, but he literally just drew a key and then wrote Sean.
Why was that not the final vote that was revealed? That should have been it.
Yeah.
Keyshawn. Like that should have been the final vote. Why was that not the one that was revealed?
I don't know. Is that just adding insult to injury to be like?
I think it's funny because we all know
this is how you get voted out of Survivor.
Like Asia's vote, we all know who did it.
Yeah.
We all know who did it.
True.
That's why I'm surprised they didn't actually include that one when they revealed the votes because I'm like, that's Rome's vote. Everyone knows. Anyway, so
exactly.
Fantastic ending to the episode. Great narrative shift. I sure hope Genevieve, even if Genevieve doesn't become like a major character, Genevieve cannot be ignored now. Are you kidding me? This was amazing.
No.
Genevieve has to be at least
best play of the season so far, I would say.
At worst, Genevieve should be a mid character the rest of the season, like middle of the road. So but if Genevieve wants to take charge whenever she feels slightly threatened, I am on board. I am down for a.
Also, I'm just like so glad that this happened because like the first few episodes, I really felt bad for her because like I was just thinking like, you know, Survivor's a lifelong dream for so many people. You like finally get out on the island.
Don't sit on your hands. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. But even then I was like, oh man, like none of her confessionals, like nothing is getting screen time. Like it really sucks. But then this happened. It's like, oh, cool. Okay. Yes. That is like a great moment. So
let this be a lesson. If you want screen time, suck up to Jeff, suck up to production. Give analogies unnecessarily. Speak positively about whoever the sponsor is. If they have a sponsor like Applebee's, if you're looking for suck up confessional time, that's it. If you want to make a difference and make the fans root for you, take charge, make big bold moves, but do them smartly. Don't do them like Rome where he's just doing stuff to do stuff. I mean, it's worked out for Rome, but he's a ticking time bomb. He's not winning. Genevieve made a smart big move. It's smart.
The other thing you can do is you can you can be a pilot and not tell people about it.
No one knows. Who's going to know who's a pilot?
Yes, you can lie about your age.
Okay.
You can lie about how rich you are. Basically, just lie to
Rebekah,
everyone.
our podcast is going longer than usual. Next time on Survivor, there's a big Survivor twist, which is strange to do in episode 5. Remember, this is a series, and therefore everything has to be exactly the same for some godforsaken reason.
Also,
episode 6, the Mergatory. What are we doing in episode 5? It's a big Survivor twist.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I
feel like
go ahead.
After last week's Next Time on Survivor, where they literally edited it to look like Sue got murdered. I mean, obviously these things are like highly edited and stuff, so I'm like, I don't know how big of a twist is this really. But
one person commented what is personally my hope, though again weird to do in episode 5 if they do this, is that we go from 3 tribes to 2. But didn't he say it was a big Survivor twist they've never done, or just a big Survivor twist?
I think he said that they've never done.
Okay, then it can't be that because they've gone from 3 to 2 to 1. Cagayan, they literally go from 3 to 2. So yeah, that's not that. I mean, I was really hoping like one of these seasons they go from 3 to 2 to 1 again. It works in Cagayan. I think it works in a general sense. Like, all right, we got our small tribes. Now let's get a couple bigger tribes. Like it changes up the dynamics. Also, Rebekah, idea for a returnee season. Are you ready for this one? You combine Blood versus Water with One World.
Oh. Ooh.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Okay.
Loved ones are all on the same beach together, but on separate tribes. Therefore, the drama, the drama's there at all times. The relationships are there. Information would be flying around theoretically between love. You know what I mean? Like if we're all on one beach and separate tribes, Blood versus Water and One World, combine them. But it needs to be one tribe of returnees, like the first Blood versus Water. I think it's that's the more fun way.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
I mean, talk about combining a couple old twists into a great new twist. Like that would be amazing. It's a fresh take on Blood versus Water and One World, and I think it would work. I really do. I don't know if they have a beach to accommodate that in Fiji for 18 people on one beach. why not? Whatever. They put 13 people at merge story. What's 5 more people? What's 5 more people? You get your production crew on one beach, so it's like everyone's just in one spot. Go for it.
It's half the money because half the locations. So budget era.
But I mean, for real, I don't think they're gonna do that for 50. I mean, that'd be cool if they did. But this is like, because what I'm talking about is a half returnee season. I think that would be an amazing twist, and it would bring so many new social dynamics to the game that they haven't done. Like they've done One World and they've done Blood vs. Water, but they've never done them both. And just like thinking about all the possibilities of and we would know who's on which tribe because we have one tribe of returnees, people we recognize, and one tribe people we do not recognize. Therefore, we will know which tribe is which, because that in One World, what they did is they did men versus women, so you know who's on which tribe. You need some way to differentiate when everyone's living on one beach, who's on which tribe. Returnees versus non-returnees, we'll know because we'll recognize half the cast. We'll know that's a tribe, and the other people are not the returnees, so that's a different tribe. So, anyways, that's my thought. That is the one idea I would pitch as an actual season. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great thought. I would be very excited about that.
That would be legitimately a fantastic season with the right returnees, obviously. I mean, with the right cast, it's always the right cast, but twist wise, that's the don't tell me it's a bad idea. Get out of here. All right. Fantasy team time. We kind of talked about this earlier a little bit. I got 0 points last week for Asia. Did you get any points last week for Asia being voted off?
No, I forget who I voted for, but I don't think I got any points for her, sadly.
Me either. If you guys want to join our fantasy league for fun, or you can try to win. I mean, we're 4 weeks deep, but this is a 13-week season, so you've got plenty of time. Link in the description for all paid patrons, because the winner gets to pick a story video for me to make from any season. And first and second place both get a copy of Castaways, the game that you can play Survivor at home, unofficial Survivor, unofficially play Survivor with your friends and family, or your cats and dogs if you're without family or friends.
That's nice.
That sounded really sad.
I can vote out my cat.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think you'd have a lot of influence over your pets to vote the way you want them to, though. But you are in charge of their food.
But what if they vote me out? I feel like that would really hurt my feelings.
See, I think you're guaranteed to win, basically, because you're in charge of their food. A pretty big factor.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
they're like, I will vote however you want for a treat.
Yeah, if you're gonna join the league, you have to join group 2. No effect, by the way, which group you're in. You just have to join group 2 because group 1 filled up. And the max they put in each group are 50. Just letting you know. So when you look at the links.
Plus group 2 is the best.
Rebekah's
it's most
2.
lit because I'm in there. So
next season, I think I might just do 3 groups from the get-go. I have one Wesley group, one Mary group, one Rebekah group. Just for funsies. Nice. We'll see. All right, let's move on. What's new on Patreon? Podcasts are early and ad-free as always. The fantasy game we just talked about. One World Stories are up on there. I released Troy's and Cats here on YouTube. So Sabrina and Kim's are on Patreon, along with like Kelly Wigglesworth and trying to think of CGI Brett, Julie Berry, and Jeff Probst Love Stories on there. Kai Guyon voting is happening right now, for which 5 stories to do from Kai Guyon. That is on Patreon. And of course, along with the voting on every story video or every video I make, not every video, sorry, most videos I make, because some of them I do pick on my own. Point being is there's a lot to do on Patreon and interact with other fans, interact with me. All that cool jazz. So Patreon keeps us free from having to shill products to you. That's the way I put it now.
That's nice.
It's the truth.
I like
we
that.
We don't have to shill products to make ends meet. Things that you don't want. And things that, come on, use my affiliate link to buy it. No shilling products. Patrons, you make this happen. All right, let's move on. Question of the week. I will go first. I don't know if I go first every week. I feel like I could probably be going first every week, but all right. What is the oldest season, Rebekah? Meaning the furthest back. What is the oldest season to not have anyone from it return in a returnee season? Your options are A, season 11 Guatemala, B, season 14 Fiji, C, season 38 Edge of Extinction, or D, season 39 Island of the Idols.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like it has to be a later season.
Talk through your thought process here. So let's walk through this. Guatemala. Did anyone from Guatemala ever come back to play again?
I guarantee you they did. Now, am I terrible at remembering who played which season and names and all that? Yes, but I can almost guarantee that someone from that season did play again.
I can if you want to ask more specific questions, I can tell you who's on a season. I will absolutely not tell you, of course, if they played again after their season. I'll tell you who's on a season if you ever have a question. So just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I definitely think it needs to be, I think it's a pretty late season. Like I would guess 38 or 39. And I'm trying to think, I'm going to guess season 38 because I can't think of anyone. Oh, wait, who won that season?
Chris Underwood.
I think they were on Chris Underwood. Was he on Winners at War? Oh man, it's been too long since I've seen that. I'm going to guess season 38 because that's what my gut's saying.
That is correct. That is your first point of the season.
Yes.
Oh, what's the updated score now that you scored a point?
Oh yeah, now that I've scored a point, I have 1 point. And you have 2 points.
Okay, so I have a chance to get a third one tonight.
So
yes.
You do.
Guatemala, Danny Boatwright returned from that season to play on Winners at War. I was hoping you were going to pick that one. Season 14, Fiji, Yao-Man came back and played again in Micronesia. I think that's the only returnee from that season. So I tried picking seasons that had one returnee. And then Edge of Extinction has had nobody, though it did have returnees on it. It's had nobody who was on that season play again after it because the last person to make a returnee appearance was season 37, Nick Wilson, who played on Winners at War. I know Bruce played on 44 and then 45, okay? Technically, yes. But the question is, what is the oldest season to not have anyone from it return in a returning season? The answer, as you said, is 38. All right. Yeah. What is my question?
Nice.
What is the question for me?
All right. Okay, so this is a multiple choice question for you.
Thank goodness.
So the question is, who holds the record? And I'm hoping you don't know this off the top of your head, but we'll find out. Who holds the record for the most consecutive reward challenges won? And that's including tribal and or individual. Okay. And this person won 8 in a row, just so you know. Right. And also, it's a trick question because there's 2 people that are tied for this. Okay.
Give me the multiple choice then.
Okay, so multiple choice, I have a few people here. So the first is Randy Bailey, Colby Donaldson, Julia, I'm not going to try and pronounce her last name, from Korong, Tom Westman, Michelle Fitzgerald, Tai Trang, Joe Anglem, I think is how you say his last name, and Mike Holloway. So out of all of those people, 2 of them...
This is just reward? Or is this immunity
just
as
reward.
Well? Just reward.
Just reward.
Gosh, I want to say Joe Anglem is one of them. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
Then I'm already wrong. What's the right answer?
So the correct answer is Ty and Julia. They were both on the same tribe in Korong. Yep. And Julia was exiled for a challenge, but it was an immunity challenge, so that doesn't count towards this.
Yeah, so. I should have guessed that 2 people from the same season that was a little sus being on your list. I should have connected the dots.
Yeah.
I was thinking Joe, because Joe in 30, in season, I think it was 31 and also 38, won every single challenge in the pre-merge. And I was like, okay, did he win any rewards in the post-merge? I'll roll the dice.
Yeah, no, that was a great guess. I mean, everyone on here, I think Tom has the record for most consecutive challenges won. It's 10 or something like that. So that was what I based the list on.
Tom would be correct if Oolong could have won immunities instead of rewards. Tom would have been right because they rolled immunities, but the occasional reward challenge Oolong would win out of left field. And then they'd be like, we're going to win immunity. No, they did not win immunity. That's not how it worked. So. All right. Yeah. So I'm only up 2-1.
Yeah.
Interesting how that.
It's going to be a photo finish.
I shouldn't have given you an easier question. I was half out of that. Like, this is an easier question, but we'll see if Rebekah even remembers the cast on these seasons. So.
And the funny thing is, I didn't. I just answered according to my gut, and I was right. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
That's how I do trivia.
TV ratings. TV ratings, by the way, across the board last week were down, and I don't know if something aired on Wednesday of last week, but I mean down for Chicago as well, not just Survivor. Episode 1 for Survivor. By the way, ratings are on screen. You can go to tvseriesfinale.com or whatever it's called to look at this yourself if you're really that interested. But I have the ratings on screen. Episode 1, Survivor got 4.72 million. Episode 2, 4.47 million. So it dipped a little bit. But then episode 3, it dipped again, 4.34 million. I put big dip. I guess it's not as big as the 1 to 2 dip, but everything dipped that night minus Chicago Med. Not Chicago PD and Chicago, other Chicago, so firefighter one.
Fire?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever the fire, yeah, Chicago Fire. Those two dipped, but for some reason, Chicago Med went up a little bit. I don't know what was airing last week.
What time? Do you know what order they air in?
That's a good question. Is Med the 10 p.m. show, and therefore whatever it was airing is done by then? I don't know. It's a good question. I did not investigate that deep into it. Point being is that Survivor is still number 1, 18 to 49 demo rating, which is the most important for advertisers. But it did drop in viewership, which is never fun. Never fun. So I'm hoping it turns it around. But yeah, I would agree. The first couple episodes are kind of like, So I can see why people would be like, I gotta tune in. But again, episode 3 was better, and episode 4 definitely the best of the season by far.
Yeah, so. I'll be curious to see next week if it like picks up again after this season or this episode being so good. Yeah,
well, that usually reflects the week after. How people feel is usually the week after. Right. So if the last season ends and people didn't really care for it, then it will reflect in the premiere of the next season. And then if people hear it's good, they'll start tuning in. So, all right, not too much on TV ratings, just throwing out there. Still number 1 in 1849 demo, and of course, network TV in general is just down. So really, how is it doing on Paramount Plus? I have no freaking clue. I wish Netflix is the only one that publicly gives out numbers for.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, you can literally get an Excel sheet, Rebekah. Oh. Every single thing on Netflix for the past 6 months, like they do every 6 months now. I think I've been doing it since last year. And you can see the exact number of hours viewed for every single show. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why Netflix keeps pushing that show on me, because it's like the number 1, number 2. Like, why was Baby Reindeer recommended? It was like the number 2 most viewed show. No freaking, obviously it's why they kept recommending it to me. Anyway, so.
Or was it the number 2 because they kept recommending it to everyone?
Chicken or the egg question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
My point is that Netflix is the only one to publicly reveal it. They had 2 Survivor seasons on Netflix, Millennials vs. Gen X and Pearl Islands, and Millennials vs. Gen X got more views. But I think that's just, I think it's just because it's the HD season of the 2, if I'm being frank.
Yeah.
People are that shallow. Don't lie. You're that shallow as well, person listening, likely. You're going to pick something that's HD over non-HD if it's something you've never seen before. I would do the same. Especially when one says season 7, one says season 33. And it's like, okay, well, clearly I don't need to watch these in any certain order if there's only 2 available. So I would also watch the newer one. I just felt bad when the 2 seasons they had were Heroes versus Villains and Cagayan. I'm like, oh, way to ruin a bunch of seasons with Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Return E season. And then the next time around they did Micronesia. And I'm like, Micronesia? I'm talking about ruining a bunch of seasons as well. Why not just put newbie seasons up? And if people like the show, then I don't know. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So whatever. I like that. And they had Dave versus Goliath, I think, with Micronesia. Great newbie season, Dave versus Goliath. So that seems to be the trend. This time, though, Pearl Islands and Millennials vs. Gen X, I'm like, okay, 2 newbie seasons. Also, this tells me which season Survivor thinks are actually getting most views. So far, it's been Cagayan, Heroes vs. Villains. Then it was Dave vs. Goliath and Micronesia. And then now it's Millennials vs. Gen X and Pearl Islands. All popular seasons. Millennials vs. Gen X, I think, is the least popular of all of them. But those are the 6 seasons they've put on Netflix so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I don't know Paramount Plus numbers, which I would absolutely love for Paramount Plus to reveal that, because I want to know which seasons are getting watched the most but from Survivor, on Paramount Plus. Like Netflix reveals everything, season by season, everything.
We should go undercover and get a job at one of us should get a job at Paramount Plus or something.
What a waste of my time. Holy cow.
No. Listen, you just go for one day. You get your login. You go to your computer.
Somehow get access to that information.
Yep. And then you print it on physical paper and you go home.
Oh, yeah. What a waste. All right.
But if anyone from Paramount Plus is listening, that's a joke. I'm kidding. I would never actually do that.
Yeah, they're an hour 40 something into our podcast. They're like, lawsuit.
Never hiring them.
Lawsuit. Now I'm not hiring Rebekah or Wesley when they didn't apply. All right, winner analysis time. We're going to go more in depth with Mary tomorrow, so Rebekah and I will keep it fairly short tonight. Rebekah, I don't even know who your top three are. I have a good guess, but let's start with who your number 3 is.
I think they match yours, I'm going to be honest.
Let me adjust, because you used to have Gabe. Is it not Gabe anymore for number 3?
Yeah, I debated about this, but I really just felt like after this episode, it just can't be anyone on Blue. So as much as Gabe is in a good spot, I just can't have him in my top 3 because there's just no way it's him at this point. And I agree with some of the stuff you were saying earlier about Sierra. Like, I think that she's in a good spot. I think that either her or Sam, her and Sam are getting a ton of screen time. I think we're going to get to a point where one of them is going to have to backstab the other, and whoever comes out on top of that is going to be in a really good spot to win. So Sierra's my number 3. I could see her, I could see her winning or doing really well. She's number 3 for a reason. Like, I do think the top 2 are the most likely to win, but I feel comfortable putting her at number 3.
For those who skipped this section of the podcast, we have talked quite in depth about our top 3 tonight for sure then, because we do agree. My number 3 is Sierra as well. We've talked about throughout the whole podcast we do every week. Winner analysis section this week, I'm keeping it a little bit shorter because Mary and I are going to go in depth tomorrow as well. Frankly, Sierra's number 3, and narratively, she's important. She's become more important, especially not like Genevieve where it was like a massive shift, just kind of like slowly becoming more important, I would say, as the season has progressed with Sierra. Not like a massive Genevieve switch, just a slow rise. She's more important. She's definitely connected to Sam, who is also super important, which bodes well narratively. And I don't think she doesn't have any of the winner hints that are blatant, like Matt chat or that opening confessional talking with some pictures, nothing like that. But as we talked about the intro, like at first we all interpret it as Teenie has a winner hint and Sam is a winner hint. But really, when you relook at it, is it Sam's winner hint or is it Sierra's winner hint? Does Sierra beat Sam and that's what that's actually saying? Ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
So,
and because they are close, like they're working together. So a lot of Sam's strategy is very intertwined with Sierra's strategy. So until one of them comes out on top, it is a little tough to tell, like, okay, whose story are we telling here? Because they're both, so closely, intertwined, like narratively.
Yeah, like last season, we saw how Charlie and Maria were super close, but we were definitely caring about Charlie, not Maria. This time, it's kind of like I care more about Sam, but I'm supposed to care about them both. I feel like I'm supposed to care about Sierra way more than I was ever supposed to care about Maria last season in 46.
Yes.
So it's kind of like...
The main thing that I think Sierra has against her right now is lack of personal content. Because like...
What are you talking about?
With
She's
Sam,
hoping to be engaged when she gets home.
Well, that's fair. And that's about all that we know about her. But like with Sam, we're seeing him like freestyling on the beach and like we're getting a lot more personable content from him. So... That's why I definitely feel like right now Sierra is pretty solidly in the number 3 spot. But again, later on in the season, that could totally change. But for right now, she's number 3.
Yeah, Sierra, I think keep an eye on Sierra. Don't undersell Sierra just because there are more flashy edits. Though I agree with you. I think, man, that really makes me want to reconsider my top 2. My number 2 is Sam. Is your number 2 also Sam?
It is,
okay.
Yes.
So I think I'm back into I said before Teenie and Sam were 1 and 2 and there's a separation. I think I'm back into 1A, 1B territory. So Rebekah and I's number 2 is Sam, but also our number 1 is Teenie. I'm back into 1A, 1B territory. Like it's a lot closer again in terms of these two. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think that they are fairly even at this point. Like I do think that I don't know, Sam, I don't know, as much as it's like, okay, is the personal content a pro? Yes. Is it also like, is it better to get, because you had mentioned earlier, like Teenie is getting more strategic, whereas Sam is getting more personal.
To be fair, Red keeps going to tribal. That might actually
be better. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think that they're 1A, 1B, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a bigger gap, like 1A, 1C. Right. But yes, they are very close.
Everyone's if everyone here is running a race, I'm trying to think of it like we did last year. I did the analogy where, you know, if we're doing a play and people are on stage, where's everyone in relation to the main players? This season, we're not going to get that crazy. Let's just say we're running a 5K. Currently Sam and Teeny are within an arm's length. Like they could touch each other as they're about to cross the finish line. That's how close they are. Sierra's like, hey guys, I'm right behind you. And they're not paying attention to her. Like she's not in arm's length away, but she's close enough where she can talk normally and they can hear her.
Yeah, she's like playing music loudly in her headphones and they can hear her.
Everyone else is so far back that we don't see them.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Like,
it's a good analogy.
There's 3 people at the finish line. There's 2 people who are super close and can touch each other. And then there's one person who's probably 10 to 15 feet back who can talk at a normal volume. And the other 2 theoretically should be able to hear her.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like it.
That's not the best analogy. I like the one I did last season more creative, but it's just one's a lot simpler. So yeah. Teeny is number 1. We get Teeny's focus all the time. The only time narrative has been ripped away from Teeny is when Genevieve took over this episode. Though to be fair, again, it's because Teeny had 0 control with no vote and was blindsided.
Yep.
So Genevieve is literally ripping the narrative. Like it makes sense because Teeny couldn't do anything tonight.
Yeah. And I mean, we still got so much good content from Teeny. Like, I still can't get over the whole like Saul comforting Teeny for like voting for him. Like that, I just cannot get past that. Like that was crazy.
It reminds me of last season when we were at Tribal in the post merge, and mind you, there's a whole tribe of people who what was it? They survived the Purple Tribe, and the person who's getting applauded for surviving it is Kenzie. Not Q, not Tiffany, Kenzie. Let's all applaud Kenzie for surviving the Purple Tribe. And Q is the one who said it. I'm like, is this a real moment that's really happening? Why are we applauding Kenzie? What about Tiffany? What about you, Q? Why? It was just weird, and everyone did it.
Did you forget about yourself?
Everyone did it. Everyone applauded Kenzie. And like, this kind of what it feels like. It's like, Solomon's, oh, it's okay, Teeny, that you voted for me. And
like you should be mad right now. Someone voted for you. Like
Teeny was just kind of saying, I threw a vote on you because I couldn't vote for Asia. So like she was saying, I knew you weren't going, but at the same time, it's kind of weird. Yes. So that just shows the kind of person Solomon is, though, I think.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Narratively.
And the kind of relationships that Teeny has.
Yes, exactly. Narratively.
Because Teeny's done this before. Like she's working with Rome after she she blabbed about his idol and she was able to talk her way out of that.
Rome,
so
if you want to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and of course, Sam has a ton of personal content when Yellow is not going to Tribal, which is classic for a winner. It's also classic. Charlie got that kind of stuff last season. Not as strong, in my opinion, during the pre-merge. He got that last season too, and he finished second. So we can't say, ooh, that's automatic winner, but we can say that's automatic for like Final Four. Winner. This is winner stuff. So I can't ignore that somebody could always go at the number 4 spot and just miss it like Jesse did in 43. We all thought Jesse's going to win. Jesse's playing the best game. Jesse got cut. And he even had personal content. So I can't ignore that. So one of these people could be our Final Four Fallen Angel. In an ideal world, I would love to see our top 3 be the final 3 and then see who wins. At the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, let's do questions. You guys, I asked for questions. Oh, sorry for saying guys. You guys asked for questions after the episode's done on YouTube. And yeah, we're about to answer them. Okay, here, the Beast Quintavious asks, is tonight a full transformation for Genevieve?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that, like you said earlier, Wesley, like we'll see next week. Like next week is really going to be telling if this was kind of a one-time thing. But yeah, I mean, we've started to know who Genevieve is. So certainly the tables are turning.
Next question is from Patrick. Is the Breadwinner Alliance, by the way, we barely talked about the name. Is the Breadwinner Alliance the next Black Widow Brigade?
I don't think so.
They would need to actually be in power and do something. I don't know.
Yeah. And also I think that they would just have to I don't know. Sierra is too tight with Sam. Like, that's her number one. So I don't think that, I don't think this is a new Black Widow.
SPEQULO News. I don't know how Spequel News says, I feel like Rome threw the puzzle on purpose. I thought the same thing as well, but then there was no cocky confessional from him saying that he did, which I think we would have gotten if he did. I think you just...
Unless we get to like final tribal.
That'd be amazing.
And Rome's like, you guys are never going to believe.
That would be absolutely amazing. And what, he threw it to get out Solomon, who didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. They ended up voting together that tribal.
Guys, I got a big move I did. Back during episode 4, on day 8, day 9, I threw the challenge to get out Solomon. And Solomon's like sitting right there at final 3 with him. He's like, what?
Yeah. And then also Genevieve is there. That's the final 3. And she's like, well, actually, then I turned this vote. And then she ends up winning.
Yeah. And they're all like, oh, Genevieve. Oh.
Like, no way. What?
Whoa. Yeah, because as we all have seen in Survivor, when you reach the final 3, what impresses the jury most are pre-merge moves that they didn't get to witness. So.
And then Genevieve is like, yeah, I actually threw that challenge by only handing him the same piece over and over again.
Rome's like, I threw the challenge to get Solomon. And Genevieve's like, I actually handed him the wrong piece on purpose to make him throw. No, Rome.
It was just one piece. I kept handing it to him upside down.
That's the narrative shift. It's not that Rome threw it. Genevieve threw it. Genevieve's like,
but she let Rome think that he was throwing.
I threw the challenge to get out Kishan, which is not what happened, but she twisted to make it. That'd be so dumb. All right, Steven says the Kishan blindside could have went down without people losing their votes or other nonsense. Who would have thought? I would agree with that, but I feel like the only way Solomon votes for Kishan here is getting the vote stolen from Kishan. Otherwise, Kishan's voting Rome, right? Wasn't that the plan?
Yeah.
Right. And then Solomon's voting Rome. So
it's a tie.
If Rome did not have the steal a vote, it would have been a tie. And then Solomon, in this theoretical situation, Solomon and Genevieve would have revoted, and I don't know who goes between Rome and Kishan. Probably Rome. I'm trying to think how the revote.
I mean, it depends though, because does Genevieve know that Kishan threw her name out? Because in that case, she's voting for him. But also, if she did know that, then she would do what she did tonight, which was change the vote.
Well, Steven's point here is that we didn't need any nonsense to make this big move happen. And if Teenie had her vote, because remember, now no nonsense exists. No nonsense. Teenie's voting for Rome. Rome's voting for Kishan, theoretically. Genevieve's voting for Kishan. Okay, well, Kishan and Solomon are voting Rome. It's a 3-2 and Rome goes. So I hate to say it, but the nonsense kind of needed to happen for this to happen. Now, the nonsense didn't need to happen for Genevieve to kick her butt in a gear. Agreed. And Genevieve maybe could have convinced Teenie. Genevieve didn't need to even talk to Teenie, which could be negative for her long term, but she didn't need to talk to Teenie to make this move happen, which is why Teenie didn't know. Also, Teenie could have snitched the plan.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. But also, I'm a fan of nonsense on Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to some extent, you gotta have nonsense. Otherwise, it's just boring, you know?
XC says, with Teenie's breaking the fourth wall and doing a little Jim Office glance at the camera, she solidifies my top pick. Tribe mix-up / merge story is coming at the right time for her. I don't think next week's a tribe mix-up, because that, unless Jeff's going with the, we've never done this before in the new era, then okay.
Right.
Done
yeah, it's like a fake out.
I remember 41, they're like, there's never been a season without rice before. There literally had been many seasons without rice before, namely season 4, the first time they did it with no rice. The very first time was way back season 4, and they're like, season 41 never had rice. It's so dangerous. So dumb. So it could be we've never done this in the new era before. That would be okay. So like, technically, all right. But if it's a tribe switch, we go from 3 to 2. They've done that before. So I'm not sure what the we've never done this before twist is, but he does say it at the challenge, which makes me think it has to be tribe related. Like it's not like they received a note or a boat showed up with a big twist, which is how they do twists now. Boat showing up. So it's like, all right, I wonder what this big twist is. Everyone sits out except for one person, and we do a hero challenge. Again, they've done that before,
it's Claire. Claire just walks in off stage.
No, Jeff's like,
they're like, we brought in Claire. You're going to watch her compete against herself.
We've never done this before. Boss Rob and Sandra show up. He's like, we really need ratings to go up bad. Boss Rob and Sandra facing off in this challenge to see who gets immunity.
That's so funny. I love that. That's amazing.
Once a season, old returnee old players come back just for one challenge, just to
like a surrogate, challenge.
Computer. Or they come back just to lead the tribe. That's how it would be. They would lead the tribe.
That would be fun.
See,
I would like that. That's a good idea.
I would like that if it was the entire pre-merge and not one episode. Like, whoever, like, I don't know who would get to pick their challenge. By the way, they're just there for challenges. Their challenge leader. Like, I would want Ozzy. Is Ozzy an option? I want Ozzy.
Yeah, right. Right.
I know Ozzy's older now, but I want Ozzy. I think Ozzy has innate natural talent. I want Ozzy. So,
yes.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Platypus asked, there seemed to be no impact from the Asia vote last episode, meaning it was like barely brought up. That's not really true, though, because we saw Teeny get very emotional.
Yeah, it was all about Teeny's story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how Teeny's feeling about it. And yep.
Mary Jane asked, if you went on Survivor, are you eating the chickens?
Ooh, good question.
Yes. Oh, to answer, I would snap the neck and eat it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like you said earlier, like if we had food or something, I mean, you don't have food on Survivor, but like, yeah, if you were able to like get them to lay eggs, I would definitely keep them. But if they're not laying eggs, like, yeah, I'm eating the chickens.
How many days am I waiting to find out if they're laying eggs? The mergatory's in 3 days. We're eating these 3 chickens before the mergatory. Nobody else is getting them. I'm dead serious. It's day 8. The mergatory's like day 12. We're eating these 1 chicken a day.
Yes, I think I would wait like 24 hours max. Yeah. Like if they haven't laid eggs in 24 hours, like that's the cutoff.
And they all 3 of them, whoever didn't lay the eggs get murdered. You're first to go, buddy. I'm serious though.
Lay the eggs or else.
It's day 8, I think, or it was day 9. I forget. I feel like it was. Let's see. They do.
I think Sam said 8 days without food. Right.
The first episode ended after day 3, and then from there it's like 2 days an episode. So 5 is 2, 7 is 3. Why was it only 1 day? 9. Whatever. I think it's day 8. Day 8. Interesting. Who cares? The mergatory is always day 12, right? Just kill those chickens and eat them. Murder them in cold blood and eat them one at a time.
Maliciously.
I want you to be full going in the mergatory. And then when you have the mergatory feast, you're like, I've been eating well for 4 days in a row now. You know what I mean? And then you're on top of your game mentally going into the merge. Why would you save fuel for other people to eat? Screw that.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Go into the mergatory with a full belly and your brain on top because you're going to need it. The chickens are the chickens are food. Do not name the chickens. The chickens are food. Their names.
Fish are friends. No, fish are food, not hold on. There's a quote from Finding Nemo. 1 second.
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
It's fish are friends, not food.
As James said, the chickens' names are breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
That's the names of the chicken. All right. And last question is not questions from McCondog. Hot take: Genevieve is my number 1 right now. I wonder how many people have Genevieve jumping up to the top after this.
Yeah, that is a hot take, but yeah, I mean, I get it.
She did a good job this episode. You're wrong, but let me sleep on it. Okay, it's late on Wednesday. We're recording this. It'll be on Patreon as soon as we're done.
I also think next week is going to be hugely telling. Like if she's still getting this much attention and making moves next week, like, yeah, I'm going to start paying attention to her for sure.
I don't even need moves. I just need this much attention for her. For me to get strongly considered Genevieve all of a sudden, despite having 0 confessionals in an episode. Because maybe the reason she was getting no content is because she didn't have this narrative shift yet. And if she starts getting 5 confessionals an episode, I can't ignore Genevieve. I don't care if she didn't have. Yeah. She had 0. You know, all of a sudden Genevieve's an important major character. Who am I? You know? Mm-hmm. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this is probably our longest podcast of any season. I mean, my deep dives with Mary, we take 2.5 hours to talk about a season. Rebekah, we talked for almost 2 hours, 10 minutes about 1 episode. So.
For 1 episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is long. We talked longer than the actual episode.
Oh, that's not new.
It's crazy.
That's not new.
No.
I don't know how we went longer
it's
tonight.
Not.
People said they want longer episodes. This is unintentional, but I did enjoy my time talking with Rebekah. And I did enjoy
this was great.
my time people listening to our nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, you'll see other podcasts. It's like a strict 1 hour time limit on them. You'll know because they'll be like 1 hour, 1 minute. And it's like always done every week. That's not us. We just talk till we're done.
And that is why we are number 2 in the charts, but number 1 in your hearts.
The person who complained about the, so we're at the end of the podcast. It's fine. If you're here still, welcome.
Yeah.
The person who complained about the irreparable damage, again, though I couldn't find a better way of saying that. They took the red pill, whatever the Matrix pill was.
Sure.
They said, this is why you're number 2. Because Rob as a podcast doesn't talk about the edit, but we do. So apparently their point is that if we didn't talk about the edit, we could be number 1. And I'm like, yeah, that's like the whole point of the podcast. What would we talk about? The whole point of the show. Yeah. It's all we do. Right. The show says potential winner analysis like in the episode. Yes,
right.
Literally what separates us. Otherwise, we're just like any other recap podcast. It does
on the tin, right?
Yes. Otherwise, we're just any other Survivor recap podcast. There's a dime a dozen of them on YouTube. We're just anyone if we talk about. No, we have to do this. It's our thing, and I'm leaning into it because I love. And I think the reason people listen is because we love talking. I love talking about it.
Yeah.
Mary at first when she met me.
I love all the conspiracy theories.
Yes, I love the conspiracy theories too. Mary, when we first got into Survivor, Mary had no idea.
Yeah.
To be fair, I had no idea.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you are now.
Here I am. Anyways, we thank you all for listening to the end of this very long podcast. If this podcast is shorter than 2 hours and 12 minutes, you'll know that I've cut it down. I've edited it down. Every week I edit it down. Every week, believe it or not, I edit it down.
Wow.
And still. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. I love you as a friend. Or hold on. I love you like Sierra loves Andy. Like, I love all of you, she says to Andy. Like Andy says, Andy's like getting really close. We didn't even talk about this. You ready? Andy's like,
yes,
I could cry with Sierra. And Sierra's like, and Sierra says, he says, I love you to Sierra, or she says, I love you to him. But then she like clarifies that it's not like a special love. It's like, she loves everybody. Because remember, her fiancés are potential fiancés on her brain.
Yeah, she has a potential fiance. They, as far as I am aware, they're still not engaged.
Right. Yeah. So she's like, oh no, I don't want anybody to think I'm in a relationship with Andy. I love everybody.
She's like, I'm not dating anyone on this show. I swear.
Well, to be fair,
everyone needs to relax.
No one here should be dating anyone. No one's made the merge yet. All right. No one's dateable
yet. Yeah. Because you can't date someone and then they get booted before the merge. That's so cringe.
You have to make the merge to be dateable.
What an ick.
Ew. Kat taught us that, and I will never forget that lesson.
Oh, man.
Wow. We've gone off the deep end. We're getting tired. Okay, Rebekah. Well, thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.